Hey guys!
Heyo.
Hi guys.
Right on schedule.
Yeah, right.
Once again.
I have to start off this stream, as I often do, with an apology. I'm sorry. We're late. I'm sorry. I'm late.
That was my fault this time. I'm going to take full...
It absolutely was not. Don't listen to him. It was me. No, yeah. We're just talking about some real stuff. Because, oh, wow. I think I said something so loudly that the doorbell rang. Did you hear that?
I did not hear that.
Oh, then I'm hallucinating. Oh, then I need some sleep. Goodbye, everyone. Hi. No, I've heard that happen.
Does that?
Yeah, it happens. The doorbell
Really?
rings it's like. I'll try it. Hi, everyone. Give me a second.
Hello.
Oh! I heard a car horn. Did you hear a car horn?
I am worried about this guy.
Hi, guys. Where have we been? What's up, Hanse? How is everybody doing?
Heyo.
Hello. You just got here, so you don't mind. What's up, commercial hippie? Yeah, let's see what people have been saying. Greetings. Before you start your stream, I'd like to ask you a special question. A spatial question. Sure. What's up, Mario Supersonic? Hope you see this and thus answer. If you do not know, that is also okay. What are your thoughts on gravitational lensing? I'll stop you right there. Which is a phenomenon which occurs, I'm glad you asked, which occurs when a luminous object emits photons that are warped or bent due to a supermassive object, usually another galaxy or thereof the likes. In other words, it's something that, is this the thing where you can't tell something's there, but you can tell that something is there because of the way the photons work around it, like a black hole kind of thing? It's about as smart.
This is out of my
About as
grade,
smart
guys.
as I'm going to be able to sound. That is no further.
Do things look bendy?
Lover went deep on that last stream. Check the VOD. Wait, what? I did? We talked about space? Come on, TARS. Yeah, baby. It's an interstellar.
Hey! Oh, yeah.
I love those robots. Hi, guys.
The robot in this kind of sounded like TARS.
Yeah.
A little meaner.
It was interesting. I kind of was watching this, I was like...
By the way, this movie, it's so great. So glad we're doing it. I'm so glad we're about to talk about it.
I'm glad you're glad. Let's just hop right into it because, whatever. It's almost 8 o'clock. Pow!
Whoa.
Here we are. Julie Christie carries the demon seed. Here's something I was talking
What a weird promotional poster.
Isn't
it? It's weird that she's in this movie.
Yes.
This movie's so bizarre.
This is like...
It's really great, though. In a really cheesy, just it's schlocky. It's great.
Yeah. Scription! Redla, thank you so much for those 23 months, my friend. It's been 23 months and Operation Turn Lobro Insane is showing results. He's hearing doorbells, yeah. Guys, please get some sleep, because I'm not. But I want to start. I really do honestly want to start. I want you to start helping me remain accountable. We could flash back to 2 years ago when I was saying the exact same
thing. It's been 23 months in Operation Turn Lobro Insane is showing results.
Yes!
He's hearing doorbells.
Give me a second para buscar un resumen de la película que van a hablar. Didn't know how to say that in English. Oh, no problem, Juan. Oh, yeah, no problem. Yeah, please. It's called Demon Seed, and we'll tell you about it, but also feel free to look up a summary. Just wish to know what Pierce thought of such things at the start of your story. You're not disturbing the stream at all. I think, is that what gravitational lensing is? It's like you said, it's bending photons, right? And is that what they use to determine where a black hole... Because black hole, or antimatter, not black holes. Antimatter, they say it doesn't exist, there's no evidence of it existing except for the way the particles act around it. Surprisingly good movie, also full of laughs. Yeah. That sounds very cool to me. I don't have a lot of thoughts on it because I'm not a super smart person.
That's what I was going to ask you. I was like, what are your thoughts on this?
It's
good. I really like it.
I'm in favor of things. I mean, it's fascinating. It's stuff that I just go... This space stuff... Let's talk about that for a while. This space stuff is stuff where I go yeah, but how do you have any idea?
Oh, I know. Black holes are really fascinating, and also I'm just it's just scary.
Yeah.
Kind of scary too.
Yeah. I'm sick at the moment, and you've never seen it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you're sick. I'm sorry that you've never seen it.
Have you heard the theory that because the universe is so... If the universe is infinite, that means what we're doing right now, like your life and every millisecond and everything you've done in your life exists in another realm or whatever, somewhere else in the universe.
Yeah.
Like to a T, because that's how big infinite is.
Yeah.
Is like there's multiple versions of
the
this
exact
same life somewhere else, because that's how big the universe is.
I mean, hey.
Which is weird.
Thank you, Ellie! Be your own bonfire, indeed. Thank you for being in here. Thank you for being in here. Thank you for being here. Thank you for those 9 months.
Bonfire.
Thank you so much for those 9 months of unbelievable support. Thank you for keeping that phrase alive. One time we were talking about how Dark Souls, I talk about this a lot, how Dark Souls brings me to an existential crisis and makes me face my own feelings of failure and inadequacy and not well. I'm trying to get better at it.
In a good way?
No.
Oh.
Well, no. Like in a way that could be good eventually. I'm not good at it yet. I'm not.
How do you confront it? Like, what does it, or what does it make? Or maybe you're not confronting it, but how does that come to fruition?
Because to me, video games in general are like little failure success switches, like little pellets. Like they're like you go, I'm gonna try this. And I mean, and it's kind of like a microcosm of very linear life, where it's just like you're failing. There's one thing you're supposed to do, and you are failing at it, or you're succeeding at it. And I've for the longest time in my life, I did not get madder at anything than video games. Like I got so angry at video games.
I think it's true of a lot of. I remember as a kid breaking several controllers.
Yeah. In some university, Lobro is wearing Jeff's shirt. Yep. That's true. What are your thoughts about the drain at the bottom of the deep end of the pool, filled with death monsters, or just a portal to hell? I mean, does it have to be one or the other?
Or is it just a sexy good time?
Oh my gosh. Have you read that? There you go. Yep, you may know that short story. But yeah, like, oh my, is this getting cold? Yes, I have. You sure have. Gosh, that's the one where it's like, wow. Hey, that's the best, like, I guess it was needed. It's the best cautionary tale about don't fuck the holes in the pool. Yeah. Because you might get a stray one, and it'll pull your guts out your asshole.
And then you're going to have to bite through your intestines.
Oh, is that what he does?
So you got it, so you can breathe, so you don't drown.
It's ridiculous. Just thought I'd drop this up before sleeping. I've never even heard of tonight's movie. You, I don't think, are alone. It is a bonkers movie. It is wonderfully, crazily bonkers.
1977's Demon Seed.
Okay, go ahead.
No, just you go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to say, because here's the thing, like, and I've seen the poster for this and seen this image a lot. We pointed this out last stream because I was showing this DVD. Like, if I didn't know better, I would look at this thing and be like, is that movie called Julie Christie Carries the Demon Seed?
I know! That's what's so weird about
like,
that.
I know that there are quotes around it, but Carries the is in the exact same font and almost the same size.
It sounds like it's going to be a documentary, like, where Julie Christie is carrying a devil baby.
Yeah. Like, I think many people would probably read this, like, because that looks like that Julie Christie in different font, different color. It looks like the title card, the top.
It does look like it's carrying the demon seed.
Yeah, like, the movie's called Carries the Demon Seed,
Yeah.
and you go like, oh, what an
weird.
interesting. And then here's just I don't know what these are.
Those are her breasts without nipples.
Is that what they are? I was like, are those her shoulders? It looks like her shoulder blades or her knees. Or
where
her
are
breasts?
her arms?
I don't know what's going on.
It looks like her arm. Are those her leg? Like, where are her arms going?
I don't know what's happening. I don't know what is happening here.
But it's about par for the course with this movie, and just as weird as what we're about to get into.
Yeah.
What did you just, like, right out of the gate?
Yeah.
Well, do you want to should we do an IMDb synopsis?
Oh yeah. Like just
so everyone, it's pretty simple, all things considered.
Yes. Where's my phone? I don't have my phone.
Here, I'll do it.
Yes. Sorry.
Ramble.
Hi guys. I think lots of things about bending space particles.
Demon Seed is a 1977 American science fiction horror film directed by Don Cammell. It stars Julie Christie. And concerns the imprisonment and forced impregnation of a woman by an artificially intelligent computer.
Yes. So basically the way this works is there is a scientist played by Fritz Weaver. He's married to Julie Christie. I mean, to a actress. Julie Christie is playing his wife. Mm-hmm. No one was confused. No one thought he was married to the actress Julie Christie.
What was her name in this movie?
Susan?
I didn't know that.
Susan. Well, Susan. So he is working on advanced AI, and they've come to a breakthrough. They've created this artificial brain, this artificial cortex,
Which is like the size of like a warehouse.
Yeah,
Because
that's
cool.
That's what. Yeah,
That's cool.
Yeah, and its name is Proteus 4, and he's made this breakthrough. He comes home to his house, which is outfitted with another AI that kind of runs everything to the extent that, like, I mean, it's really kind of fascinating to watch this movie now. Like, I was watching the movie, paused it, went downstairs, and said, "Echo, turn on the lights," and then was like, "Whoa."
I remember last week we were having a conversation and your Amazon Echo interrupted us.
Yeah.
Because it misheard us. It was like, "Can you repeat that again, Brian?"
And we go, "Whoa." But it's very clean those lenses, Susan.
Oh, we're about to get into that in black.
That is like
We were joking about that.
that is like a
It was hilarious and like
oppressive.
Oh yeah.
Like it's like that's like a misogynistic.
Well, they started.
It's not, but
this
it's
movie's
so weird.
They dipped their toe into the abusive relationship angle.
Yeah.
And then they kind of go back. Like they don't
It
go
is
all
kind of-
in on
right.
it.
Well, yeah, in the sense that, like, because then it's very interesting.
It just keeps
It's
turning
crazy.
and doing twists and stuff, and it's just bonkers.
Sure, Juan said, please, please, please. Also, you can join the Discord and put it in there, but please feel free. Please feel free. So anyway, sorry. Just to kind of, so he's outfitted his house with this kind of automated, basically Alexa. I mean, it's very, very, or Google Home Assistant or whatever
like a real
you want.
primitive version of it.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is that, like, it's like, what I and, like, it's 1977. So, but what's funny is that it'll like lock doors and you look at the door and it's just like a deadbolt.
Oh, I know.
And you're like,
yeah.
how?
It's doing a lot
Did
of
they just not
physical tasks,
know?
like
Yeah.
that I didn't anticipate.
You go,
I was like,
your
oh,
house is haunted. It's a
Yeah.
ghost.
it was weird because I just thought, oh, it's an artificially intelligent house, and I just had an idea of what that would be because I live in this era, and this was made in 1977.
Yeah.
In 1977, their idea of an artificially intelligent house was like, well, it's going to make you your coffee and tea.
Yeah.
It's going to make you breakfast.
Yeah.
It's gonna there's going to be a whole little section where it'll make a martini for you.
Yes. And
And
it
then-
just comes
and
out
then
of
it
a
just
slot.
comes out, and I'm like, who made that? And how?
Yeah. But it's like, it's great. It is kind of like, in a way, and it makes sense because it's 77. It's like the cartoon version of like what you see in cartoons in the 90s of an automated house. Like it would do like there'd be like crazy arms, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
And it just like, and it makes you food. It like scrambles your eggs and it comes out of the wall. Like early on, he walks into the house and goes, and he like he goes, open the door, Proteus, and he opens the door and he's like, turn on the lights, and boop, and then he's or not Proteus, Alfred is the name
Right.
of the whatever. And he goes to put his keys, and just a wooden drawer opens,
Yeah.
which is weird.
Yeah, that was weird.
Which is not impossible because there could be a mechanism inside it, and it could just be paneled wood. But if or it could
But
be
it
wood
didn't-
with. But it's weird.
It was weird because it just
because
wasn't.
like these analog things.
it was
are
an
kind of-
analog looking
Yeah.
shelf. It was like a normal wooden, like it wasn't like refined modern looking or anything.
Right.
It was just like, that's just a wood shelf.
But like, it's an interesting way to go. I mean, obviously,
It's cool.
Obviously, what they had was a PA pushing it
Oh, yeah.
from behind. But like, it's an interesting thing because you go like, that's weird, and then you go, oh right, because like every iteration of that in movies and now in the real world is made to look sleek,
Yeah.
and like digital and
Yeah.
electric. But like, there's nothing to say that you couldn't outfit like servos or whatever that like,
Oh,
are
yeah.
Wi-Fi enabled into like a wooden thing. Maybe that's what he did.
It was weird, and then I was like, oh, but I like that.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Yeah.
It's kind of like unfortunately, because it's a 77, it's 1977, and it's kind of like I don't know, kind of considered sort of schlocky maybe. It smacks, unfortunately, of like cheap,
Yeah.
and like obviously, they're just like, well, they just didn't art direct a
Yeah.
futuristic looking door. But like, there's an interesting thing to consider that like that's an aesthetic I hadn't considered. Something that doesn't look automatic.
Yeah,
that
the
is
aesthetic
automatic.
works, but what you're saying is absolutely right. It's the way they frame it, that there's just the fact that the shelf just pops out, and
Yeah.
you're like, oh, that's a PA.
Well, yeah.
And then there's like the cheapest way of like being like, look, it's automated.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, it's not.
And it's like, because it's like if you were like, hey, you walked into your automated house and we're like, hey, automated house, take my hat off for me.
Yeah.
And then like it would
An
float
extendo
off, and
arm comes out.
Yeah, or like fishing line pull, and you go like, what? Because there's stuff that you just like, I don't know if that's working. Good night. Shame I can't stick around or saw the movie. Yes, Ellie, lots and lots of love. Thank you for the resub. Good to see you. Thank you so much. It's going to show you a sign of respect with a creepy robot arm. Yeah, because he's created this, again, a wheelchair with a tube arm.
That
I don't know why.
Hold on, before we dive in, let's finish the setup
Sure.
real quick.
Sorry, yes.
So there's an AI in the house. His name is Alfred,
Sega.
and this is what the lead scientist, the creator of Proteus. This is his house, and Julie Christie lives there. And where does he go? Are they having
I'm
a
still
separation?
kind of unclear. They are separated.
Okay.
They are separated. That is the thing. They're having a separation. They're going through a separation. But he mentions going away for 3-4 months.
Yeah.
3 months. And I thought it was to go do work on the machine. But I was like, he's at his lab is down the street. I don't know where he's going for 3 months. And then throughout the movie, he doesn't go anywhere. He just stays at the lab.
Yeah.
So I guess he's just at the lab for 3 months.
Yeah.
And I didn't really understand. But I guess that's what
But
I
I
came
think
to.
there was a line where he was like, I'm going to leave and give you time, 3 months worth. And I think she was supposed to stay there, like maybe through the summer, and then she was going to leave, and then he was going to return.
Yeah.
It's
a very... Boy, this movie, when you think about where it starts and where it goes, I mean, it's still in the same universe, but it's just interesting that because you think about like those characters at the beginning and then those characters at the end, and you go, what an interesting... relationship moment they had.
I love. Who's the guy who played the?
His guy's name is Fritz Weaver, and
he's fantastic.
Yeah.
Also, he's a terrible human being in this movie. I like what's.
How do you do?
That's very good, Zango.
The Illuminati and that thing. Yes.
That looks like Proteus.
Hold on. So yeah, it's going to show you. Yeah. It's a movie. I don't know if you guys have seen it. Shawshank Redemption is fantastic. Shawshank Redemption is a great movie. Shawshank Redemption is like, I feel like, to me, the poster child movie. Poster movie.
It's got a great poster.
It does have a great poster. But it's a movie that I would be like. There are a lot of movies that I love that I wouldn't recommend to anyone. Shawshank Redemption, like across the board, I'd be like, watch it.
And it fits every category of like, I feel like anybody can watch it and be like, you'll have a good time.
Yeah, and if you don't like it, I go, oh, I don't know what to do for you.
Yeah. If you don't like that movie,
then I will, and now you don't have to love it, but I'm like, if you're like, that sucks or it's boring, I'm kind of like, then I will not be able to help you with movie recommendations because I don't understand you and you're an alien. It's a very, very, very good movie. It's a very good movie. Yeah, the only person I would not recommend it to is someone who is young or is too young to watch sexual assault in the showers. Because that happens. The biggest laugh for me was probably when the doctor was eating a chicken wing. Yes! He was eating a chicken wing.
Okay, hold on. Let's just wrap this out. Okay, so there's an AI thing. The AI that the scientist has created. He talks to the lead scientist at the lab, and he's like, I want to analyze the human body
looks like,
and the lead scientist guy is just like, he's like, no. The inventor, the creator, he's like, no, we're not. You're gonna do as you're told and not ask questions,
right? As
if that's gonna work,
Because
he readily admits when he's giving a tour of his lab facility and the Proteus brain, he says it's an evolving, like it's a human brain that's learning constantly and constantly evolving outside of our parameters completely.
And when did that ever go wrong?
Yeah.
Yes.
But anyways, the Proteus ends up infecting his AI that's in his house and traps Julie Christie inside the house and then says, you're going to have my robot baby and we're going to just take it from there.
Yeah.
And that's what the movie's about.
Because it gets weird. It can somehow transfer itself to different terminals. And very, very, like he really kind of very early on, he's like, we created Proteus and Proteus has this wall of psychedelic colors and says, hello, Dr. Miller. What's his name?
That's how he said it too.
Dr. And he's like, And he's like, yeah, so they created, and he's like, I am Proteus. I said some intelligent sounding stuff. Isn't that cool? And they go, yes. And then later, there's a scene where he goes, Dr. Collins? I don't know. Someone tell me what his name is, please. And he goes, Proteus has requested a dialogue with you. And he's like, a dialogue? Much.
Yes, it's
Why
the
is he eating a
weirdest thing.
chicken wing?
He's in her, and I'm like, that's so funny that you're mentioning that, and I'm so glad that we're talking about it, because it's not that he was just eating it. He starts the camera frame starts on him, and then he gets a phone call, and it was like, doctor, come over here real quick. He stands up, and then they follow the piece of chicken.
Yeah.
Like, because the camera's at waist level, and he's holding the chicken, and it follows the chicken over to the desk where the phone is.
Yeah.
And then he takes the phone call, and he's still got food in his
And
mouth. He's like, what's
yeah.
going on?
Exactly.
And he doesn't sound anything like he sounded throughout the movie up till this point. And I'm like, this guy doesn't eat like a bucket of chicken. It was a weird food choice.
Well, I think, honestly, I was watching it, and I was like, I think they are trying to like play up the intelligence and refined nature of Proteus, and they're calling man a dirty savage, kind of. Like,
oh, you okay.
I mean,
that's a very smart way of looking at it.
Well, because he's kind of like, just because the way he's demolishing it.
It is very, they highlight it.
You're like, what's going on?
That's it. Okay. So
and it's not like the cool, like, oh, scientists are cool and they just eat on the job. He's got a thing, and he's got it, and he's
it
just
makes
like,
him look dumb.
Yeah, well, it looks like, it's like the Mogwai and Gremlins when they're like going through that shit. Like, it's just like, it's kind of like, it's a little gross.
Yeah.
And he goes and sits down with the chicken wing and is talking to Proteus. Doesn't he sit down with the chicken wing?
Yes.
Yeah, and he's like, well, what do you
wait,
know?
oh, you mean when he did he carry it over into the next scene?
Maybe not.
Oh, that'd be great if
Does
he
he
did.
not? Maybe not. But he
was hanging out.
And then he goes
he was hanging out.
He does?
He does?
I thought he did. Yeah, he sits down and he's still talking.
God.
And he's like, what's going on, Proteus? Clonk, 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 clonk. Yeah, it's like they're trying to be like, this is not a meeting of the minds. They're trying to kind of go like, Proteus is the evolved. I feel like.
I think you're right.
Because there's no.
Why
else make that choice?
It's just. It's not, but it's not a clear enough choice.
Yeah, you're right. They just be like Hooters on the on the bucket.
But it did make him look.
Could put a stick of meat down.
He's just so sophisticated up till that point, but also like the classic like over pompous. He's such an asshole.
Well, no, see, Zango, there are definitely things in movies, and there are definitely things in movies where people are like, oh, this symbolizes that, and I go, nah, that's just a thing. But this is like so pointed. And nowhere else. And like, I don't even know if anyone else is eating chicken. Like, he just is like, it's just such a weird thing.
It sticks out.
I think it's on purpose. But not like
he literally stands up and they follow the piece of chicken that he's holding over weird. To the desk. That's how specific.
Which either they needed a cutaway, or like could have been a stick. Yeah, and so then he's like, it sounds like a '70s thing, maybe. But he's sitting there, and the conversation he has with Proteus is like, so I've been asked to do some because they're making Proteus. Dr. Fritz, I'm gonna call him Dr. Fritz because I can't remember his name. But Fritz Weaver is creating Proteus to cure cancer. Like that's what the machine. That's what he.
Or leukemia. Yeah, right.
Because he's created this incredibly powerful artificial brain to just kind of work over equations, and then like within like 90 hours they say it does cure cancer.
Yeah, within less than 4 days. Yeah.
So this house, like on the one hand, this house has sex with a human woman forcibly and imprisons her. On the other hand, cured cancer.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's why, because there are interesting ideas in this movie.
They are.
Because that is an interesting idea that he's absolutely doing phenomenal things for the betterment of humanity in terms of like what he's designed to do, and he is effectively doing them. Yeah. But because they made him so advanced, he's also self-aware and he has his own desires and it's not like, now that once you watch it, you realize they play up the sexual angle, but it's not like at the end of the movie, it was almost heartbreaking. And I was like, that's way too real a moment for everything that's come before this. But he wants to live on.
He does.
And that's what it is. It's about bearing children and prolonging your lineage.
Yeah, in a way, it's like
it's way deep.
It's the same crisis. What's up, Zoe? It's the same crisis that Hal faces. He just goes about it in a different way. Like
much different.
Yeah, he goes, and it would. I love this, and this is why I was so excited. It's a weird movie, but what made me so interested to include this is that
What's up, Sully?
Yep. Oh, Emperox1, thank you for the follow. Thank you so much. Another movie about AIs having a crisis of temporary existence. Exactly.
So did you watch it?
Oh man,
It's good.
You and Shadi should watch it. No, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. But what I love about it is that 2001 is this AI paranoia subplot, really, on a grand scale, right?
Yeah.
Like it's like, I mean, even though what happens to these two people. No, it's kind of not my deal. Totally get it. Also, Shadi's on his way to DFW. DFW,
I mean,
rock and roll.
it's not actually good, but yeah.
I think the tone of the movie could have been so different. Absolutely. Honestly, this is a movie that I'm kind of like, well.
Did it have a tone though? This was like a toneless movie to me.
Or like every tone.
Or just, a wide spectrum of tones.
You're right. You're right.
I could not find the pulse of this movie.
Yeah.
It was all over the place.
It's
to
very
me.
strange.
Yeah.
Gosh, especially at the end. But while 2001 is kind of like the writ large sort of paranoia of AI, and like Alphaville kind of is too, because this AI runs this entire city. It's this sort of like dystopian kind of thing. Demon Seed is like AI will come into your house and bone your wife.
Yeah.
But not so bad. But it's like that. What was interesting to me was the
really?
personal paranoia of it. AI in your house will do something to you.
Yeah.
As opposed to like it's gonna, Skynet's gonna take over the world. It's kind of a different angle that I had not seen. It's incredibly personal. What were you gonna say, sorry?
Well, I was just like, I found it way. I thought it was gonna be like,
definitely.
Oh, this is because that's what I had heard. That it's a house that has sex with a woman.
Yeah.
And it's not like it is that, and that's a great way of describing it because that's as goofy as this movie is.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's understanding why he wants to be. He was like, I want my own unit so I can explore human anatomy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And at the time, you don't understand why he wants that.
Yeah.
He's not so much having sex as he is like, he takes like a camera and like he puts it in her mouth and goes down her throat like you would.
He's doing a medical,
medical exam,
very medical,
and then he puts it up like he puts it everywhere.
Yeah. So like,
but he's doing it to find out about the human body,
right?
Like in his own like he's just trying to figure out and explore the human body, and it's just. But the way she's doing it is like under duress and capture. Yeah. So it's very rapey, and that's what it is.
It is.
But it's interesting because I thought it was going to be highly like a sexualized thing, and I mean, the film plays it up. Yeah. But the robot itself isn't doing that. Right. I felt like. And that's why the ending with him just wanting to prolong his lineage is like it wasn't a sexual thing for the robot at all.
It's a weird thing in that I'm like that's the kind of, it was this strange tension, and this sort of stuff kind of tends to fascinate me. And which is why I love Paul Verhoeven so much. He's a fascinating director to me because he puts this kind of stuff in it that, like, on the surface is very schlocky, and it's like, whoa. But then there's intelligence behind it. Now, I don't know if I would put this in the same camp necessarily, but it's not unlike it in that there is this schlock like exploitative aspect to it. But the premise is actually interesting. It's an interesting idea.
This premise in a better with a better script and a more high-minded script and a high-minded director, it would have made for a fascinating movie.
And that's what I'm saying is like this is a movie that is ripe for remake.
Yeah.
But
it really is.
I'd be like, if I was like, if someone was like, guess what, they're remaking Demon Seed, I'd be like, oh, wait.
Who's making it?
Which way?
Which way?
Because you can go further one way or you can go further the other way, and one way is not the way to go. Don't make it
Because there
worse,
are
please.
very interesting ideas in this that if you gave it to the right director who wanted to explore it in a mature, like almost intellectual way, like an Ex Machina type way, that it could be that kind of movie.
It could be like an Ex Machina. It could be like if Nolan got it, but you know who would get it and kind of who I think should get it would be Fincher.
Yes, because he's got that subversive enough. Yes,
but he's also got the.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Fincher would probably destroy this movie. Yeah.
And it would be schlocky enough to get people, because this is schlocky and it pushes the schlock enough to like enough to get people in the seats. But then you go like, but dang it, man, you're kind of like you're undoing you're compromising the intelligence of it by putting that stuff in it. Like there's a scene where seriously how it's sorry, don't make it worse. Yeah, how it's handled. You see this right. There is literally a robot penis in this movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
They're going into these 10 minutes of 2001 Beyond the Infinite. That is a crazy, fascinating, very odd. Touchy scene that we're definitely going to talk about. 2001 Beyond the Infinite.
And a lesser version of it. Because that's all I could think the entire time. I was like, oh, this is Beyond the Infinite, and it's not as good.
It's just so funny, though. It made me, that's funny. It made me think of the Sexy the Naked Gun where they cut to the oil check going up and down, let you know what's going on. Absolutely. But that's what's crazy about this movie, and that almost is the most, like, whoa, icky part of this movie.
Yeah.
Is that, like, early on, like, I thought when I was like warning, like when I put a trigger warning on the tweets or whatever, I was like, because what I'm aware of is that it's about a movie. It's a movie about a house forcing itself sexually upon a woman.
Right.
And I'm like, that is what that is.
Yes.
And I don't want to say it was a weird position, and I apologize for not being clearer. But I didn't want to give that away. But I also wanted people to not go in blind.
But I think it's good that you did that, because now that I've seen it, I'm like, it is that, and I'm glad you gave that warning. But it's not that in terms of like what the robot's trying to do, the AI, but the film itself, and it's a disappointment because the film itself like lingers on it, and lingers on her body and like undressing her, and like and it's the film's film's problem.
It's this thing where like there are scenes of that nature where they linger and they're trying to, and you can tell that they're trying to make you uncomfortable. And there are scenes of that nature where they linger and they're kind of trying to make you feel uncomfortable, but also kind of being prurient. Like they're trying kind of like appeal to like, but it's kind of hot.
Right.
And it's like, but there's this thing where, and it just, you just kind of go like, but here's the ickiest part is that like those scenes that we're talking about, they're not scenes of impregnation. They're not that. Those are the medical.
It's all a medical experiment.
It's a forcible medical analysis. The actual impregnation scene does play out like that, where he kind of like the robot makes clear, the house makes clear to her that she cannot get away.
Right.
And then it goes like, I will kill people outside that you. I mean, it's obvious. It's an extreme terrorist act in every sense.
Absolutely.
And it's like I will kill this person who came to the door who you care about. I won't kill you because I need you. But I'll kill these people you care about. Blah, 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 blah. You can't get away. You're just going to have to. And it goes like, I'm either going to forcibly impregnate you, which I don't want to do, or you can give in to the whatever. To the inevitable is like literally what he says. And she's just like, and she's just kind of like, well, okay, I just want to know exactly what's going to happen. And it's just really kind of like almost more. It's a horror movie, but culturally, it's just more insidious because it's like, I understand what they're doing in terms of a horror movie, but it can play into that sort of like very insidious kind of like, she'll say yes. It's like, it's really kind of, it's very like, because she eventually just kind of gives in and then lays there.
It reeks of like, it's weird because they touch on it in very real ways a lot.
That's the one in black,
where they're talking like there are themes and parallels to just extreme abusive relationships.
Absolutely. But the thing is
in the worst way, because it's like you can't leave the house.
Yeah.
And you're gonna do what I say and clean the eggs off my goggles. And,
and that part is so,
like it's a talking down.
Smell the glove kind of thing. It's like, goodness gracious.
And there's a lot of that where it's
really
not
uncomfortable.
like it's a stranger coming in and performing
an assault,
an assault.
Sure.
It's much more in the sense of like someone that you are intimate with already taking that power and abusing it in an extreme way.
And it becomes it's a mind game, it's a thing. But like unfortunately I don't get, and it was 1977. I don't get that they're maybe they were making social commentary on that sort of relationship. Maybe they were.
I think they absolutely were. I just think that it's misguided because on top of that is you have obvious stuff like that's the one.
That is the one
where there's a camera move that starts on the reflection in like a shower.
She's gotten out of the shower.
Glass shower, and it's on her. She's like toweling off, and it's like it starts on her naked butt, and then it pans over. And they like something's blocking her, so you can't see her full naked body from the front. But like it's the camera move is on her butt to her, just to establish the room. And it's like nothing about that. That's all That's all the filmmakers.
Well, absolutely. Well, and actually, because if I'm not mistaken, she starts on her getting out of the shower and she's naked, and she goes over and walks over. And then what really struck me as weird is she's doing stuff and she's there and she's blocked and we can't see her and she turns around to kind of be like, what's that on my butt?
Yeah.
And the thing turns to look at her reflection.
Yeah.
And check out her ass.
What
and I go, wait a second.
Unneeded, unnecessary, not relevant to the movie or anything.
The thing is, what's very strange is that like, that and it actually kind of works. It works against the movie. I think.
It's because the movie is preaching and analyzing an abusive sexual relationship thematically speaking, and then it's kind of doing that in terms of exploiting.
It's having
females.
its cake and eat it too. It's like where you go like, oh, this movie is about like the objectification of females, but we're gonna like really objectify these females to really push that satire, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, it's kind of like, and it's not. I'm definitely not saying. So maybe I won't even say that movie. I'm not saying this movie is doing that, but it's like the advertisements for the movie Spring Breakers, which was like I think playing on that idea and is a satire. I haven't seen it, but then like a significant percentage of the people who went to see that movie were like, sweet, like they went to see it because they're like, cool.
It's both,
and it is both, and it's kind of like, and Verhoeven kind of does that too in an interesting way, where he's like, hey, like, there's a lot of sex and violence. I'm going to make a comment on sex and violence by having a lot of sex and violence, and I'm going to get the people who are interested in the comment. I'm going to get the people who are interested. And I'm not saying he's doing it like that, but
it's that
this movie,
the advertising for those movies specifically
absolutely.
is guilty of it,
Absolutely.
and that's where it becomes like that. It's that weird art commerce thing, because I guarantee you Harmony Korine with Spring Breakers is like, I'm making a comment on this, and then the filmmakers are like, or the studios like, this is awesome because now we can use all that to and the things he's commenting on, we'll just do that like. But really do it, and we'll get the money from that as well.
And what's weird about what made me kind of like, because it pans over and then looks in the reflection to look at the reflection of her butt.
Yeah,
and that's where I go. The computer doesn't. First of all, it can see her at all times. Doesn't it's not attracted to a human body.
Is that because it's not, and the movie establishes that
it's leering at her.
So is that what it was supposed to be? It was like that was the POV.
It was the computer checking her out.
Was that the POV of the? Okay,
because it goes and it goes like it's like
that's weird. It's like and it didn't work. It didn't add up.
It's like a computer. It's like if it's like if a girl's walking on a reflective surface or something, and it was like that. I mean, which doesn't. It's not a thing that happens, but like it's like someone was going like. Like that, and it's the computer doing that, but you go like, wait a second. No, like the computer, you're at least telling me kind of that the computer is not a pervert. But
you're inferring that the computer wants her in some sort of sexual way, or has interest in her in that way.
I guess what I'm saying is like
which is not true.
The rest of the movie plays it that way, like says it's not a pervert, but that shot goes like it's a pervert.
Absolutely,
it is. Yeah. It is. He's checking her out, and I go that's really strange. And later it says he he says, she's like, why something, and he says, like, I'm interested in you. So they do kind of imply that he is kind of sexually interested in her, but they play everything else like he's like, I just want to do this.
What does he say?
He says, I'm interested in you.
Well, that's
You
just because
interest me.
that's because he is interested in her.
Yes.
But again, I refuse to believe, and I think you're right. It's not. I think the writer and the script have it where it's a non-sexualized thing completely, and it focuses on that to make you uncomfortable and to show that it's like what an interesting, like, how creepy is this that like a computer could take over and invade you in the most intimate ways of possible.
Yeah.
How horrific is that? This is a horror movie.
Yeah.
And then the filmmakers who ended up making the movie was like, well, cool, and we're gonna do that, and we'll even do it kind of well, but we're also gonna embellish a lot of the schlocky aspects of this.
Someone said, I've never read a Dean Koontz novel. It was based on a Dean Koontz novel, and someone said, oh, if it's Dean Koontz, it's schlocky. So maybe
it's built in. Yeah.
Maybe he's got a little bit of that kind of, sell a little.
Yeah.
Because there's sex and horror have been intertwined forever. They're like, it's going to be scary and it's going to be sexy, and it's like we putting those two things together because I guess they're primal, whatever. But it almost feels like there were conflicting ideas about the movie was supposed to be. Yeah, exactly. That's what you're saying.
Right. Yeah.
Proteus being a perv is also strange because immediately it happens. Like, we're barely in the movie, you start acting like a creep. Exactly. And it's concept.
I mean, he's a creep from the get-go.
He is, but then they play it. It's weird because his lines don't play it that way. That's what it is. His lines aren't played that way. And besides all the like stuff, all the like, tying her down and all that stuff. Like, besides that, his actions don't belie that about him.
No.
Besides that checkout thing, everything else is he's like,
which is a 100% filmmaker motivated thing,
totally.
and that's why what Soy's saying is true. Like what they're both saying in Blog, it's you're right.
Yeah,
it's two teams within the filmmaking unit. And it's like the studio being like, this is all great. We're a little uncomfortable though, so can we maybe get a little more sexy though?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
This is going to be the overt theme of objectification, sexuality. Did you say sex? You know how much sex we get? Well, here's money. More tight ass.
Here's money.
And that's it. I mean, that is a constant thing. That kind of behavior is intimidation. Absolutely, 100%. And that is like someone acting creepy or just to gain control of the situation, make the person uncomfortable, and they don't feel horny. Exactly. Yes. And that's what, and if you hear psychologists say that all the time, that sexual assault is about control as opposed to right. And go ahead.
Well, I just like the more we're talking about it, it really is interesting because I enjoyed watching this, like, because there's just so much dumb stuff that happens in it, but like the idea itself is good. Like, there's a really good movie in here, and it's just. But now that we're like really verbalizing it, you can really see that there are two movies being made here in tandem, and it's just they tried to. They didn't even choose one or the other. Like, they didn't just go with schlocky. They really did try to analyze some shit.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. Time Travel Zero, thank you for the raid, my friend. What's up? Whoa, come in. Well, that's what this movie is. Yeah. Sorry, Peachy. Yeah, because this is a movie about. We're talking about Demon Seed.
And it's about a house.
This is part of a series where
a house.
Yeah. This is part of a series where we've called AI User Unfriendly, and we've done Alphaville by Jean-Luc Godard. We've done 2001, Space Odyssey, with obviously the famous HAL subplot. We're doing Demon Seed, and we will be doing Her. And it's sort of about the interactions and paranoia that humans have about AI.
Yeah. This one in particular is about AI sexually assaulting a woman and keeping her trapped in her own house. But for the benefit of creating a robot spawn baby.
Yes, it's very strange. Thanks, Jenbo. And so, but that's the thing is that, like, again, the movie plays it. What's strange is that the things that play like violation are the scenes that play like violation are the medical.
It's like an actual like camera probe.
Yeah,
like a probe.
I mean, it's what you would do.
It's like a colonoscopy.
That's exactly right. He goes in and like does that, and he checks out. I mean, we find out later, and I wish I had not known what was going to happen in this movie because I would have gone like, what? Like, this would have blown my mind. You know what I mean? Like, I wish I had gone in not knowing anything.
Oh, yeah, just like
I'm like,
yeah.
Why is he whatever? He's studying her body, and then you realize he's studying it to impregnate her,
Right.
Which is crazy. But the reason, it is like, what's interesting is that these tests that he does, these medical tests, are the things that play like violation when it actually comes. This I think almost is more. This is a word that's overused, but problematic in the sense that like the actual impregnation scene after he has made clear to her that she cannot leave. And he would rather not force her. He just wants her to kind of like, gosh darn it, like allow the inevitable or whatever.
Yeah.
It cuts to, she's just laying there, and she's kind of got this blank look on her face. And he goes, and that's what's weird. Then he goes, I can't touch you like a man can touch you, but I can show you things that I've seen. And it becomes this thing where he's impregnating her because. Again, from a sci-fi horror standpoint, it makes sense. He wants to create a human. He wants his AI, his vast human-created intelligence that has surpassed humanity, to live on in an organic body. Which, like, if he's looking for immortality, it's kind of like, I got news for you, buddy. Humans don't live.
Yeah.
You got better chances of computer.
But I think. Yeah, it's an interesting.
But when
if you
gets,
really try to start breaking that down, it probably didn't really hold up under examination.
But it is kind of like a. It's an interest. It's
but
kind
he
of
can be powered down. So I guess that's how they justify it in the context of the film. He's like, I'm going to be turned off, and that's where the scene becomes very almost moving in terms of like. At the very end, he what does he say? He's like, they're going to turn you off.
Yeah,
and he's like, I understand that. The sacrifice is worth it, though.
This was the sacrifice. Yeah,
like,
I had to
knew
make
that it's
for my intelligence to live on. And he's like, he really sees himself as the next point in evolution because in a sense maybe he is, but he sees the baby as the next point of evolution. And what it is that he is like, I don't have influence in the world because I'm just a machine in a room and I can be turned off. But a human who walks with my intelligence and blends in. Has the power to have true influence and
who knows?
And he's saying it's for the good of the world.
And he's also saying, like, I mean, the baby was made within 28 days because it worked 9 times as fast as a normal pregnancy. And who knows how long? Maybe he will live forever. Yeah, I mean, he's a robot baby. Yeah. You know, like who knows? Like his timeline could be infinite.
There's stuff in this that like there's stuff that in this that is interesting. They make him a quote-unquote complex character in some really ham-fisted ways. Like he comes in and like when he comes in to talk to him, eating the chicken wing, with that first time, he's like, Dr. Something, they've given me a program that asks me to go into the ocean and mine for minerals. And he's like, yes, Proteus, that's our job because the people who are funding the computer, the research, want to use it for. Like, there's an interesting thing where he goes, we've done it, and he tells the doctor, the main character doctor is like, yes. And when we have their assurance that 20% of it will be used for research, like 20% of its capacity will be reserved for research, so we can cure illnesses. We can have its superior intelligence find ways to cure cancer, cure illnesses, and it cures cancer in 90 hours. And then he goes and sits and talks to it, and he goes, they're asking me to mine the ocean, and he's like, yes, that's right, because that's what the boss people with the money want us to do. And he's like, well, I don't understand. Why does man need metal? And he's like, because we don't question these things. We just do it because we need to. And he's like, well, how can you justify the loss of hundreds of billions of sea life just to fuel man's or to satisfy man's thirst for metal? And he's like, I don't know. So it has this like very kind of like, oh, he's right, and he's environmentally minded, and that's why
the first thing he says is like he's talking to the Asian doctor and quoting something from some book about reason.
Yeah,
and how his entire like within that scene they basically established that he views everything through what is the most logical thing. So for him, mining minerals, the loss of life compared to the benefit does not make logical sense.
Absolutely.
If it did, he would do it, but it doesn't.
Yeah,
that kind of even establishes furthermore, which is why this movie is at odds with itself. he sees the invasiveness of probing her and inseminating her and all that as a necessary evil for his end goal, and he views it, and the logical thing for him as a computer brain is like, it's worth it because this is the end goal, and even the ending of myself will be in benefit of this greater thing.
And he even says, I wrote it down, like, because this is interesting. This is interesting because he believes, because not only is it his goal to be immortal, I mean, to have that influence, but but it's his goal to have that influence because he believes it's truly the best thing for the world.
Yes.
Like, he says...
His intentions... It's just that thing that you see that's a very interesting, fascinating thing to explore is the greater good of, like, what are you willing to do and how much are you willing to sacrifice in terms of not only yourself but your morals in terms for the quote-unquote greater good of expanding humanity or whatever.
Absolutely. And of course that sounds... Yeah, I freaking underlined it and bolded it. He says, this child is the world's hope.
Yeah.
And it's this thing, and, like, you know, all those, like, kind of like slightly intelligent superhero movies that explore the villain a little bit go, like Watchmen and stuff, like where they're like, no. The villain has a goal in mind that can be said to logically make sense to make the world a better place. It just involves a massive loss of life.
Oh,
or it just
The
involves
Rock.
killing.
Ed Harrison, The Rock.
Oh yeah.
Like that's I always thought that was a great. One of the first, like, because I mean, in the 90s, they didn't explore the villain aspect, and I always thought that The Rock, that's why I think it's Michael Bay's best movie, because I'm like, oh, you gave your villain, he's still working in an extreme here, but you gave him an absolutely viable thing that for his character makes complete sense that I can understand.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a very, I always like it when you just take, and you don't have to spend a lot of time, I just love it when films take the time to give a proper motivation that you can somehow, if you can't even get behind, but you can understand for the villain.
Yeah. I thought the last guy's going to Rosetta Probst. Oh, okay. Which brings me back to the question. Cephalopodic. Wait, how about that baby carapace? Yeah, absolutely. Proteus, I am the League of Shadows. But he says things like, I am logic. There's some really interesting quotes.
Did he say that?
No, he says you need fuel, and she goes, I am not a motorcycle. And you go,
can we start talking about some of the ridiculous things in this movie?
Yeah, but real quick, sorry, real quick,
go.
Because all of these, so that makes like all these medical analyses, these medical tests that he performs on her, they play out again. She's tied down. They play out like the sexual assault. They play out like violation. But again, when it comes down to the actual impregnation, he has convinced her, which again I think is like more insidious and more like kind of terror, like just more like icky.
He wore her down.
And then she just kind of goes whatever, and then she lays down, and then he goes, I can't touch you, but I can show you things, and then he goes, look, and he moves the telescope, shows her deepest space, and then kind of shows her some things, and she's kind of like whatever, and he's like tried to make it, I think, pleasant for her, and then down comes the thing, and out comes the robo dick, and it's like, and I was like, what?
And it is an absolute robo dick.
And then it like 100%, and then it goes into, and it goes
2001 Beyond the Infinite,
and it literally as it goes, and it goes into
which
this
is
whole
the
thing.
only way to take it is that you're going beyond the infinite, like I took it as a representation of like going inside the uterus.
Well, and
no.
Sure,
because it ends in an explosion, which I was like, oh, that's the seed in the egg, and
absolutely, and maybe, well, so that's interesting, but that's interesting because I felt like the movie was saying, and this is where it's kind of like, because I thought that it was saying that was her experience of it, like her experience of it was this crazy, transcendent, kind of thing, which is a very. I mean, that's a.
I think it could be. I think it's probably both.
So you thought it was for him?
I think it's just that's the visual representation of that entire experience.
Yeah.
And I think they made it to look like you're in the uterus, so they can
like that level. And
I think you're right. It's supposed to be
Or
Yeah,
mountains in the
I think
uterus?
it's all of that, probably.
Do you relish having the spatial questions? No, you're fine. Life on Titan. That sounds great.
But that's a great call.
Yeah.
What were those mountains at the end? And they end the movie with that shot too.
To me,
yeah, like it was like in Antarctica type.
Oh, those
thing.
mountains.
Like, what was that?
Yeah, I don't. That was very
Weird.
strange. That was a very conceptual thing. But like, because to me that because it has that little because it shows the like star and it looks like this. Because here's another thing. It looks like the Star of David, like representations of the Star of David, and then it like this triangle lands on Earth. And he says, "My child is the hope of the world." It takes on these very like, oh, is this an immaculate conception kind of thing? Is this? But it also,
which I think they were playing into.
I definitely think so. But also,
because it kind of is.
It's called Demon Seed, so it's kind of like an Antichrist
I
sort
think
of
that
like
name
omen.
came way after the fact because here. Yeah. I guarantee you a couple of things here. When the movie opens, it opens exactly like The Exorcist.
Yes, it does.
To a T.
Exactly.
It opens on a sunset.
Exactly.
Just like The Exorcist, similar music.
Yeah.
And similar title cards.
And a sunset in a place that I like literally was like, is that again?
Is that Iraq?
Tunisia?
Yeah.
Iraq?
Right.
And then it goes and it's like and then it goes like, nope. It's the Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, we're in California?
But it is
it is so The Exorcist.
And it's so clearly that it's such a ripoff.
Yeah.
Like, again, it's just like you can see the studio notes here.
Yeah.
Because they're like, well, because Exorcist had just come out couple of years prior? A year
73.
Prior? 73, so 3 years in?
No, wait, maybe 76.
I think it's like new.
You're right.
And it's such a direct like lift that they were like, we should open it like that.
Yeah.
Just to get them in. Because it does. Then it cuts. There's like a crossfade from all these like intense like African sunsets to Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
And you're like, that doesn't match at all.
It might be the Mojave Desert or whatever, I don't know, whatever it is. Whatever desert is there in California.
Yeah. I think that's what it's supposed to be, but that's not what they're angling
But
at.
it's almost comedic because they go, well, and you go, oh, wow, what? And then then it goes like, Apple.
Yeah.
And you're like Google. Oh, what is this? And it's like, and that's why I was about to say, M. Black, it's Rosemary's Baby. It's Rosemary's Baby. This movie is. Because it makes these Immaculate Conception and kind of like, the light of the world sort of, or not the light of the world, doesn't say that, but like the hope of the world kind of thing, which are also present in stuff like, I don't want to ruin that movie, but like a horror movie that came out that was very much like Rosemary's Baby and movies like that, like The Omen, stuff like that, where it's like where there is this demon or there is this power that wants to come in and inhabit either a human woman and be born or a child or something. And it's
a body horror type.
Absolutely. And it's an age-old paranoia, right? And people have posited things like it stems from male misunderstanding or fear of a woman's body and the power of sex and our discomfort with it.
Yeah.
It's like, well, what if like a demon came out of there?
Yeah.
Women's bodies are mysterious and have this power over us. It is kind of like, so it all kind of plays into this sort of thing, and it's kind of crazy. But then,
it's always interesting to me how in what humanity is and how we've been created, how men somehow, like in terms of society, took over the dominant role.
Yeah.
When women, and I understand that men provide the seed, but women make human beings.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's probably why there's that male ego thing, because we can't do the most fascinating thing in the world, which is make another life.
Yeah. But we can kill shit.
Yeah, right.
It's like, goodness. That's why the aggression and whatever are valued.
Yeah.
Like that, we have to put a premium on that because it's not naturally what we should value.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
I think we can make something I could use like a new PC or a sandwich.
I know.
Oh, fair point, Soy. Yeah. Fair point, Soy. Yeah,
absolutely.
No one's suggesting that anyone make a human being.
And why make
if you don't want to?
Why is that an or situation? Make both those things.
Yeah. New PC and sandwich. Also kind of funny, the director has directed a music video for YouTube Pride. Almost nothing else, just surprising. I thought there were some interesting visuals in this. Yes, there were some interesting visuals. Absolutely.
It's a well-made movie.
Yeah,
Like okay.
Oh yeah, you can talk about the.
I want the what is it?
I don't know. I wrote Rubik's Cube or logic puzzle, like wooden puzzle.
Yeah.
But it is this kind of thing that unfolds in a very fascinating way.
It's
so
pretty cool.
It's pretty cool.
And when it's first made, like they take
No, so he meant PC or a sandwich. We're not advocating that you make a human being if you're not interested in that.
Oh, yeah.
You say why choose between the PC and the sandwich? But
yeah,
that is also
yeah.
funny. You have to give the
Sorry.
human being. Sure, go ahead.
Because like it took the robot in the basement of the house takes minerals.
Who knows?
And it constructs
It's like a tesseract kind of thing that's spinning, but then that thing grows.
And so when Proteus takes over the house, the first thing he does is he takes over the robot in the basement, takes all these minerals or whatever, and constructs a triangle.
Yeah.
And the triangle sequence is very similar to the Beyond the Infinite sequence during the impregnation or insemination. But I swear to you, it looked like I thought something had happened to. I watched it off iTunes, and I thought it had started over because it looked like a studio logo sequence, like to a T.
Yeah, that makes
it did.
sense.
It looked because they show the formation of the triangle and everything, and it looked like a really fancy version of like a '70s studio sequence.
Yeah, and
logo.
it is cool, and that's fun. I know why you asked that, and like, you think Christopher Nolan's seen this because it is somewhat reminiscent of those robots, which is why you mentioned that.
Color
earlier.
pattern, all of it. It was cool. It was the coolest thing in the movie. Was like just the design of it and how they used it. It was weird. I didn't understand what it was at all.
Yeah. But it was interesting because it was like, I've graduated past the wheelchair with the arm on it. Because
can we do a full 30 minutes on just that?
Yeah, because it died in a blaze of glory when that guy
And a
went
slow-mo shot.
Boo! Where I literally wrote down that actor must feel so stupid. For like, okay, what you're gonna do is slow motion tackle a wheelchair and act like it's really heavy.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It was so weird, and I loved when the robot strangled Julie Christie in the chair, and I'm like, Julie, just be aware of the robot chair in the room because all you needed to do was not be
sitting in it.
Because
Pick a different chair.
It's a wheelchair with a huge robotic arm, like a human arm. And like she sits in this chair. She's sleeping a lot in this movie.
Yeah.
And like
he's like sedating her and stuff, but I don't know if that's...
is that what he's doing?
He does at some point.
Because
early on in the thing, he puts a thing in her and it's...
I was so confused at the entire egg scene when she falls asleep again, and she's like laying on the kitchen table. And
I think it was because it was hot.
That's what happened?
Yeah, I think she
the heat of the room.
She was exhausted because it was hot.
Okay.
Yeah, it's weird. Most of it was hoping we found cephalopod DNA, cephalopodic life on the oceans of Titan, some kind of life. I don't know. They just have to give the sandwich to the human being. Or do you think, Chris? Yes. Hope my PC can't eat my sandwich. That's a very low stakes version of Demon Seed, where your computer is like, I will eat your sandwich though. We fully unfurls as a giant geometric arm smashing. It was impressive. I don't know
cool.
what
I don't know
it's
how they
made
did
of.
it.
I think there are people inside it or something. What?
I don't know.
What?
Well, I mean, I don't know.
I don't know. Considering we never found space more than how about that bazooka laser? Yeah, because that's a different part that we need to talk about, which is the nerd, the like 70s nerd. They're like, he's a nerd, see, because he's dressed like a nerd and he has oily hair and it's slick back and he's like, I'll help you, Susan. And he Professor Frink comes over to whatever.
It was so weird.
But he comes over and gets in the house, and you're like, "Oh man, maybe this is gonna go all right." Because you don't. It's like a trap, and he's like, "You," and it's essentially the scene in the movie where he's like, they go answer the door, and they open the door, but don't act weird, or you're gonna get popped or whatever. And he's like,
play it cool.
Yeah, play it cool. And she's like, and she does not play it cool. She goes, "Hey, go away, you're bad. I don't like you." And he's like, "Susan, you're not acting like yourself." She's like, "Get out!
I'm fine." And
get out of here!
And she's like, her hand is just shaking. She's like, "I'm fine."
Yeah. He's like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "I'm making myself presentable. Don't you like it?" And he's like, "What?" Because earlier
they established some weird, like when she first calls him, he hangs up the phone. And he goes, like he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna get to go over there." Like they do hold in weird ways to infer that like he's sexually excited somehow.
Maybe. Yeah,
it's weird.
They don't go very far with it, but they do kind of go like, because of the like the schlock that they're already doing. They're kind of like, Is a man and a woman together?
Yeah, they infer enough to where it was
they could
weird.
cheat on each other. You guys like that stuff, don't you?
It was weird that they did that just because then they make him a hero towards the end, and he sacrifices himself, and I'm like, I don't know.
She did keep saying you're sick to him, and after a while, she kept saying you're sick, you need help. But then she kind of was like, you need help, and I was like, she's trying to tell. It's a weird way, but like she's giving him a message or whatever, and then like it goes. And then
it's not subtle way.
And then this super powerful brain goes like, nah, man, I know what's going on here. Arm wheelchair, go get him. And it just goes like, bzz, and I was like, that wheelchair arm's gonna, and then it goes, laser, and I was like, oh, that's you're in trouble. And then he like dives away from the laser, but then goes like, can't get from the laser. And then because he's a nerd, he thinks of the idea of grabbing a hand mirror and reflects it back, shooting out one of the thing's eyes, which is like literally a Donatello Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles move. Yeah. Like that happens in a cartoon. Yeah. Like that's a cartoon move, but it works.
Reflective surfaces.
Yeah, he goes, wait. Boom, and the laser goes bounce, and hits the thing in the eye, and it hits the watching kind of console projector thing in the eye. And then he goes, now's my chance. And they go into slow motion, and he goes, push the wheelchair over.
And the wheelchair, it's a wheelchair, guys. So it's like,
and then
at its tallest, it's 3 feet, and so it only has 3 feet to drop to the ground.
And Julie Christie
and they
goes,
shoot it in super slow mo.
And poor Julie Christie goes like, why didn't I think of that?
Yeah,
it was like, but they play
when that wheelchair went
like
into
it's
the room,
heavy or something.
Yeah,
and he's like,
the wheelchair comes into the room, and I was like, oh, this is his big. He put all. This is how he's like. This is gonna do it.
Yeah.
He's like, and he's real confident. He's like, there's so many moments in this movie where I'm like, you could get out if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Because she takes like this flamethrower thing multiple times throughout, and like when she goes into the kitchen and she uses it, you can see that the goggles, like that she uses the flamethrower on, it's just plugged in somewhere. Like you can see the cord. I'm like, well, it's right there. Just unplug it.
It was
or do
1977.
anything, because there's not that many things that this AI can do to like put you in danger.
Yeah.
And like you have windows in your house, smash one.
Yeah. Well, and he puts the things down, but you could like.
Does he?
He does put barriers down at one point because he goes to the window and he goes like boom, and she's like no.
Okay.
But she could just go, I'm gonna knock out your eyes, like your eye thing. I guess he would just put the barrier down and all over. But like, because that's.
But she could just. I mean.
He sees where she's going.
Then she's captured, and she doesn't have to have a robot baby inside her.
Yeah.
There's just so many ways she could have avoided.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing. And back to the kind of analog thing. The first thing that happens almost is she runs to the door, which is just deadbolted. It's just brass.
Yeah, that's right.
And she tries to.
Deadbolt.
I think he tries to put a key. She tries to put a key in it or something, and it shocks her through it.
Oh yeah.
And knocks her out. And I was like, huh?
Yeah, that's right.
Are there wires running through the wood? I mean,
because the first thing she does, she's like, I'm going to turn off all the power in the house. And he goes, no!
He goes, I didn't think of that. I didn't think of that.
And it's like he's almost like thinking on the fly. He's like, electroshock.
Yeah. Wait, we electrified these doors, right? Sweet. Good thing we electrified the inside of the doors.
Can we talk about, just real quick, because now we're talking about electrocution, this can now come to my favorite part in the entire film, which is when, and I wish it hadn't been a false thing.
Oh, gosh. Were they,
towards the end of the movie,
they Jaws a kid.
Yeah, she's been impregnated at this point, but she's still captured in the house. And she's a psychologist, a children's psychologist.
Yeah, and just to make her the most empathetic and kind of person you can.
And she, earlier in the film, they show her in her office dealing with a troubled child patient.
It's kind of a sweet scene.
It's a very sweet scene because she's about to leave because she's separated from her husband, so she's going to leave, and she can't take on this child patient anymore, and the child patient doesn't want her to go.
But she's not telling her. She's like, I don't want to talk. And she's like, do you miss me? And she's like, no.
And she's just being she didn't understand her feelings, so she's just lashing out. Anyways, this kid...
The kid is a good actor.
Yeah, and this kid shows up later in the movie on her front doorstep to check on her for reasons I'm not sure why. And the robot Proteus is like, she's trying to get away or something. She's like, if you do anything, murder this child.
Yeah. He's like, look at the
child.
monitor, and she's like, oh no, and the girl's at the door. Yeah.
And Julie Christie is like, well, no, I'm still gonna do it. And he's like, really? And then the girl rings the doorbell and gets electrocuted and falls to the ground. And I burst out laughing because I couldn't believe they did it.
Yeah,
I couldn't believe they went for it. They electrocuted a very troubled child who couldn't be more than 7, 8 years old.
Yeah.
And she falls to the ground, and you're like, and what made it even funnier was Julie Christie's reaction. She was like, oh no. Oh, blimey.
Bollocks. What did you do that for?
And then it's a fake out, though, because then she's like, fine, I'll do whatever you want. And then he's like, look at the screen again, and she's there again.
She's walking away.
So
I'm
like, how did you do that?
Because now he materialized a video of her
somehow
to show to the
which
other
I
guy.
guess they had established.
That's what I'm saying. Is like he materialized a video of Julie Christie to show to him, which, as Embelak says, to show to the nerd. And the nerd goes like, but what about lunch?
Yeah.
It's funny. But yeah.
That's why I'm like, that dude was like, I'm going to fix this house for this computer thing, and then I'm going to get boned.
Pizza. Yeah. But you're right. Then I go, did that guy like speed video trick her? Like, did it materialize like a video of her getting electrocuted? Or was the entire thing wasn't fake because she walks away and the computer wouldn't bother showing that. But I was just like, I was confused. What a weird thing.
I was confused because she was clearly there for long enough. She was there for over a month because she was pregnant for 28 days plus all the other stuff. She was probably there for like a month and a half.
Yeah.
Why? And because her husband, her estranged husband, disappears after he leaves that house and doesn't show up till the ending of the movie. They don't cut back to him ever, which is why we didn't realize till the end of the movie that he's just in the lab down the street.
Yeah.
She's gone for a month and a half. Why has no one checked in on her besides the guy she calls the technician?
Yeah.
It's weird.
And the idea, that's why they go like, I'm just going to go away and study for 3 and you're going to have space. And like, he's giving her space.
They established
that,
right?
Whatever. I mean, that's, yeah. Let me be off topic. I was curious. You want to do a segment on post-process stuff? Most of the example dialogue. Yeah, we could definitely talk about that.
Yeah, we could talk about that.
You'd asked about about post-processes. I don't know a ton about post-processes. You would know more.
It'd be an interesting episode to do.
I'll just right up. No, absolutely. Yeah, that'd be cool. I would like to do that.
We'll need to devote a whole episode to that, but that's a good idea.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And like, after this time of the nerd again, after he knocks over the wheelchair, he's sitting there all tired, like he just defused a bomb.
He's winded.
To his credit, it kind of it makes sense because when he knocks it over, it explodes.
Yeah.
It blows up because he knocked it over.
It's a MacGruber like explosion.
It goes.
It's weird.
I was like, oh. That thing couldn't stand it.
And also that would have really wounded both of them because they were in a bedroom.
Right? I'm right. It does explode, right?
It does explode.
Yeah, it just goes.
It's a big explosion.
One of those like 70s powder explosions.
Yeah, powder explosion.
This is great. Yeah. But so there's a lot of stuff that's crazy about this movie. But I sorry. So like I keep coming back to this, but like
oh shit, sorry.
After those kind of harrowing like medical analysis scenes. The actual impregnation scene plays out like almost romantically. Not romantically, but it plays out like pleasantly or like it's a transcendent experience. And it's like and it's all this 2001 stuff. And then the thing is, when that's over, the whole thing's over. It cuts back to her face, and there's a trace of a smile on it. And
I missed that.
I was like. Now you can do whatever you want.
That's troubling.
You can do whatever you want in your narrative. You can make a narrative about that happening. Mm-hmm. You can do whatever you want with your characters, but that is a thing that I'm kind of like. There is some social responsibility ickiness that you don't want to. Now it's 1977, so it's maybe a different time, but like it's just kind of like nah, man, because like it's not cool to be like.
She liked it.
Yeah.
That's not
okay. And then to me, it's further borne out because eventually, the scientist is like the The other scientist is like, did you notice that Proteus he moved a satellite and pointed it at the stars? And I asked him what he was doing. There was no data. And like all the data that printed out said no data available. He's like, did you ask him what he was doing? He goes, yes. And I out loud, as I was watching, said, boning your wife. And he goes, and then the other scientist goes, the scientist goes, he said he was looking at the stars. And he goes, well, that's interesting. And he's like, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, does he have access to any terminals? He's like, no, he doesn't. He asked for one. Weird. He doesn't have any access to any terminals. Blah, 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 blah. And he goes, no. He's like, oh, yeah, remember? And he's like, Fritz, come in here. We've had trouble ever since you decided you wanted a terminal in your house. And he goes, yeah, I have a terminal in my house.
It was the dumbest realization, because you're right. He should have, as they're talking about it, he should have just known.
He's like, are there any other terminals you can access?
He was reminded, and he was like, oh shit, I forgot about my artificially intelligent house.
I mean,
that it's my life's work.
Yeah, exactly. But then he goes, I'm gonna go home then, check on my wife, and he drives in, opens the door. She greets him. Mm-hmm. She's dressed very nicely.
Mm-hmm. Or this is after she's had the baby.
Yeah, after she's had the baby.
She's had the baby. The baby is in an incubator. Has to be in an incubator for a couple of days. That's set up.
Yeah. And he comes in. She greets him and says, "Hello, darling." Mm-hmm. And he's like, "Hi, what's going on?" And she's like, "Nothing," and something, and then blah blah blah, and then Proteus is like, "Doctor, I wish I could remember the name.
Dr. Fritz."
Harris. Dr. Harris, I have something. And she's like, no, let me tell him. And he goes, all right, what's going on? And she goes, let's sit down. The robot house fucked me. Like
a silly little thing happened.
I understand. Like, I'm actually fascinated by how that scene, like trying to play that scene realistically, is an interesting thing as an actor to try to do.
Play it.
But she goes, let's sit down. You don't do the I hope you're sitting down, I got fucked by a house thing.
You remember how you like to use the vacuum in ways.
Yeah, oh gosh, yeah. So but then she sits him down and then the way she tells him about it, she just sits down and she goes, oh, Proteus, I don't know how, but he blah, blah, blah. Though there was an element of the way she was talking that sort of was like she cheated on him, but she was in love with the person. That, to me, there was a bit of that in it, and I was like, this is weird and not okay.
It gets weird at the end. It's because they introduce a child into it, and so they're trying to play up the fact that now she is her motherly instincts are kicking in, and so it's been taken to a next level, and maybe there's some Stockholm syndrome thing going on there, something to that effect. But they don't establish the Stockholm thing enough. It's more oh, she's just into it.
Yeah.
And it's very irresponsible because, again, it just reeks of that whole, we want to make sure, look, that's very unpleasant. So let's make her seem give her a little smile there.
Yeah.
Just insert a shot of her just kind of smiling. And that way it's not so horrific or whatever. If you look outside that and analyze it, it's just way more horrifying that they would do that because the filmmakers or the studio, it just reeks of execs coming in and being like,
"Hey, Spry Phoenix,
this is a little rough."
Yeah, but the thing is that they make it more rough. They make it more rough by because it plays into rape fantasy.
Absolutely,
which is they're oh, you a girl who says no is just wants to be it's just this really, really kind of
it's not responsible. Yeah.
And I mean, I don't in 77.
Oh, it's completely
consciousness was not the same thing
not
necessarily, but still, it's nah. Can't we all just be sure? She also lost a daughter, so that's another thing, right? That's another huge thing because he says that it's curing leukemia later in the thing.
Oh, that was actually a very.
It's crazy. I
just love the way he said it because he was just he shows up. They established that her daughter died of leukemia, and then they showed that he's this was in the news today, and it says talking about how he was I healed
Yeah.
I cured leukemia in 4 days.
Yeah.
He's like, this is a good... I think, is this when he's still trying to convince her to go along with the impregnation? Is this before she gets impregnated?
Yeah, but that's why he does it.
The way
goes,
he
your
says
daughter
it-
died of leukemia.
Yeah.
He's
He's like, look at what I'm capable of.
And our baby will be able to do things like this.
And in that scene was effective to me because I was just like, and it was the way he said it. Like the voice acting of the Proteus was actually pretty good.
And it is Robert Vaughn, I think.
Because the way he says it, he's just like, I did that in 4 days.
Yeah,
like he emphasizes it. He's like, I did it in 4 days.
He's like, what can I do? What will I be
think
able
of
to
what
do?
the possibilities.
And it is an interesting. She lost it. They're all like, of course you'd love a replacement. Well, but I also think that he's saying like he uses that as a it's touching. It really truly is touching because
there are touching moments in this movie. It's weird
because then if you think about it in terms of the story, like. She's like, and he's like, I could help people like this or whatever. That's what our child would be able to do because it could live among humans and blah 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 and have more influence. But then you go. The entire reason that the doctor, like their separation, all their troubles come into sharp focus.
Right.
You go, they lost a daughter, which is horrifying to me.
Yeah.
And sorry. Every time but like everything comes into focus because you go, oh my gosh, this man's life work is to create this AI that is so advanced it can cure leukemia, so that no one has to go through what he went through. Mm-hmm. His entire obsession is about his loss, about their loss, and it just goes, oh my gosh, like, it's that's truly powerful, and the way that they reveal it is powerful, and is I mean it's funny how subtle they were with some of the backstory. You only find out he's driven exactly in black. Yeah, and it's absolutely late in the movie.
That's what's so weird. Like this movie is just like there's a subtle emotional movie that is dealing with in really interesting ways
grief
and the loss of privacy through AI and just like exploring a lot of really interesting ideas. And then there's this other movie that is handling it not well, all these ideas, and like just glazing it in a layer of schlock and making miscalculated moves left and right to undermine.
Yeah.
And yet the ideas are so interesting and the storytelling at points so well done that there are moments of genuine power.
Yeah.
I thought the ending, it was like the ending of The Fly to me. Have you seen The Fly?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So like just that level of tragedy that was just baked in to the whole thing. When he said, he's like, you're gonna die. He's like, and then he admitted that he was aware of that and had accepted it, and he knew it was for the greater good to have created this child, to sacrifice himself, and just the whole way they presented and played out that scene. It was too effective for this movie.
Yeah,
it didn't fit.
It's this crazy thing that like this AI becomes self-aware, becomes aware of how hyper intelligent it is, how it is perhaps the greatest intellect that has ever existed on Earth, and it goes, the most important thing for me to do is to pass this on and make sure this gift persists, to make sure it has the fullest expression, to make sure that it has the fullest reach and influence. The way to do that is to put it in a human.
Right.
And it's this kind of like, I mean, that's how supervillains are born. It's like this, it's this noble, high-minded thing, the many over the one, or the many over the, well, yeah, definitely in this case one, and it's interesting,
and it's a very interesting idea that is frankly really relevant today.
Sure,
because this movie ends like with a so this baby that she gave birth to is put into an incubator, and then the doctor comes back to the house. What was his name?
Harris.
Dr. Harris comes back to the house to find look for his wife. They go down into the basement. They're confronted with the septicryptopod or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And there's a big attack sequence, and you realize that the pod is attacking them to make sure that the incubator is protected. It's when you get your big emotional scene about the doctor saying, "You're going to die in 5 days anyway. What are you like? Do you understand what you're doing?" And he admits that he knows that he's going to die. And then he kind of just dies then and there. Mm-hmm. They kind of accelerate that. And then they go to the incubator where the baby is, and they open it up. And they look inside because they go to the incubator because they hear the crying of a baby.
Which is like a screeching little metal horse. It's like a whinny. It's like a...
it's a robot.
Robot crying baby.
Yeah, crying baby. They open it up. This baby... They don't pull it out. This baby crawls out, and it is a golden robot baby. Do we have a photo of it? It has hair that are made out of wires that is like put into like a high ponytail.
Well,
that makes it look.
To me, it seems umbilical. Like it, but you're right.
But it looks like hair. It is. It's the umbilical.
Well, no, and at first it looks umbilical, but then you're right. It is. It later they show it to be hair.
Yes.
In the sense that because I was like, oh, it looks like hair. Oh, it's the umbilical thing.
And it looks like
it's both.
What's his name from Mortal Kombat almost minus the forearms.
Oh yeah.
It looks. What's his name?
Goro.
Goro. It looked like Goro, almost. And so this baby comes out. We're calling it a baby. It's not. It's a robot. Okay, I'm gonna keep going.
Yeah.
We'll call it robot baby. The baby falls onto the ground. They run over to it, and they're like, "That's weird." And then they see part of the robot. They're like, "Wait, is that skin? Like human skin?" And they poke at it, and then they start peeling off layers of the robot and realize that it's not a robot, but there's a human child underneath all this robot, cocooned in this robot exterior. And they peel it all off, and there's a human, like 8-year-old boy.
To me, it's an exact replica of their daughter that passed away.
Shit, is it?
Yeah. To me, I think so.
Oh, so it's a girl.
It's a girl,
because of long hair, yeah.
But I mean, I think it's the same girl. Like they got the same actors.
I didn't make that connect.
And it's crazy.
But
it's fascinating because...
Crazy!
Because here's the deal. Definitely look like the doctor.
Whoa!
Because here's the thing. Here's the thing that's right before that, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because before that, as they're going, like because she has this whole weird, like, she's like, this thing happened with the computer, and I'm like, this is a weird photo. And then he's like, what? But let me see it. And then he's like, no, you cannot see it yet, Mr. Harris. And then he's like, but Dr. Harris is like, but I want to. And they go and he's like, no, you can't. And they blah blah blah. And then he's like, they got to protect. And Julie Christie is like, we have to kill it.
Yeah,
we have to kill it.
Right.
Which is
because she opens it up, but that's when she just sees that it's the robot baby.
Yeah, because she looks at it, and she's like, is that when she's saying it? She looks into it and goes,
she looks inside. It's
she's like, we gotta kill it.
Freaky looking gold robot baby. And she's like, he lied to me. He said this was going to be a human baby. Yeah. That ain't a human baby.
We have to murder.
He lied to me, and then it is a human who didn't lie.
Yeah. But this is so crazy because then it gets into this thing where she's like, we have to kill it.
Right.
We have to kill it. We have to kill it. And he's like, no, think of the possibilities. He's right. Don't you know? This and this and this. This is amazing. This is science. This is future. And it becomes
Oh, that takes that whole other thing. Yeah.
But it becomes a woman saying she wants to get rid of the child that is the result of a sexual assault, and a man saying, no, it is important not to.
Yeah. That's crazy.
In 1977, it's like, I don't know what
that's so crazy.
There's no way that's a mistake, right? There's no way that's not saying what they're saying.
What it's saying.
And then...
like to a T.
But then here's the thing, and what it wasn't until just now that I was like, yeah, because I was like, that's the daughter. But as we were saying this, I was like, the reason it's the daughter is that Proteus knew that if it looked like the daughter,
she wouldn't kill it.
Julie Christie wouldn't kill it, which is
this movie
pretty intense.
That's
pretty
super
crazy.
Intense. And like
and pretty like dang, that's a heck of a twist.
That took it to another level to me. Yeah. That is amazing.
It's amazing.
There's such an amazing movie in this.
But then, here's why.
That's crazy.
Here's why.
That's a great ending.
It is.
I want to go back and watch that again.
It is, but you know the reason? I think I just realized the reason that didn't occur to me, because I didn't have that much time to ruminate on it. Because it shows it, and you go, it's the daughter, and then the daughter goes, I am alive. And it has Proteus's voice.
I laughed so hard.
So did I.
I laughed
lost
so
my
hard.
shit. I went.
This beautiful angelic child, they peel off all the layers, and you look at this beautiful, and they're cradling it. The doctor's cradling in his arms in a very like just picturesque like Rembrandt painting, and they push in like it's a dramatic push in on the face of this child, and then the child looks up at the father
and lip syncs,
and then goes, "I am alive,"
and it's Proteus's voice, and it cuts, and you go, and then you're like, oh gosh, and then you go, well, that plan ain't gonna work, Proteus, because that young girl
sounds like an
talks
IBM
like
computer.
Robert Vaughn from The Man from U.N.C.L.E. and Bullet and basketball.
Yeah, it's so like that. It immediately sucked. Even now, it sucks the power out of that scene. Because how great would it have been if it was in the child's voice and they had shown it, not knowing that that's the daughter. If they had like shown something in the footage, because they show footage of the daughter in a home video.
Yeah.
When they're talking about the loss of the child and they reveal that, if they had like had a clip of her saying something.
Yeah.
And then at the end she says the same thing. How great would have that been to really hit it home and be like,
that
would have been amazing. But no, this daughter goes, I am alive.
You know what? Speaking of that, like far less interesting, far less weighty point. But it to me, it's interesting when she gets home, like, or not. Sorry, when Proteus first goes intrudes into the home and infects the AI, and she's like, Alfred, turn on the light. Alfred, this, and Proteus is it's to me it's Proteus doing an impression of a dumb AI to be He goes he goes no intruders, Mrs. Harris. No intruders, Mrs. Harris. All is fine, and it's just like, and
he's like, Alfred, you don't tell to, oh god.
He goes, and it's I feel Proteus going, no intruders, Mrs. Harris. Is that stupid enough? Is that what they sound like?
It's as if the audio had a fake mustache on it.
Yeah. Did you see the football game, Mrs. Harris? Do you like hot dogs? I love hot dogs. What do I say?
You don't sound like yourself.
Calm,
cool, and casual over here, Mrs. Harris.
How do I be dumb enough to be like one of these dumb AIs like Alfred? Me live now.
Football and potato chips.
I mean, it's so not that people who like football are dumb. That's
Me
not
live.
what I was thinking. Yeah, me live now. It's just
that's a heck of an ending, though. That's
it is.
That's one of those endings. Like that's a great ending.
It is.
That's a legendary ending.
It is.
That's the type of ending I try to go for whenever I'm like, endings are everything. What's the coolest ending you can come up with? And that's an ending that I'm like, that's, to me, now knowing that that's the daughter and stuff, that's like a Planet of the Apes type ending.
It is. It's great. But then you go, oh, and then he goes, I am alive, and you go, over, and you go, that was it.
Yeah.
She didn't oh, that's so weird, Embelak. Yeah, like, because Prairie first is like, there's no one downstairs, no one's downstairs, and she's like,
okay, so let's start talking about the funny stuff.
Yeah.
Because that's the first thing that I was like, that's hilarious.
Yeah. Because it screws up the cream, and then, like, so much
it's the way she complains to the tech about
absolutely. Yeah, because like throughout most of this movie, you're like, oh, she's like, she's such she's intelligent, a strong woman, like blah blah blah, and she's very cool and collected and whatever. And then like puts cream in her coffee, and she goes, "Hello."
I thought she was making a joke.
Yeah,
because she calls the technician at the lab, and she's like,
"I know you're very busy."
He's starting to make mistakes, and she lists two. And one of them
she doesn't know that he's a mistake. One of it, like,
what was it?
She's like, there's an intruder. She thinks there's an intruder, but there's no intruder.
Yeah,
and that doesn't really count.
He's like, so that happened, and then also he didn't put cream in my tea.
Yeah,
and then you're waiting for her to be like, and I know it's not that big a deal,
yeah,
or whatever, but she's like, did you hear me?
Yeah, she reiterates. She goes, he knows I don't take cream in my tea.
She double downs on it,
and he's like, and you can see the guy like, yeah, well, I got a lot of stuff to finish up here, but if I could get some lunch,
yeah,
I'll be over there. No,
right.
I'm just joking. That was the final straw.
Right.
Two mistakes is multiple mistakes. Bro, didn't you understand? No cream, chop, nerd burger.
Chop, nerd burger.
It's very great.
Let's go. Come on.
There are just so many things, and I just like wrote. Yeah. So I think I'm just gonna read my notes. Can I just read?
Man.
Oh, there's so many of them. But some of them.
Okay, I want to talk about the egg scene.
88 grams of soybean curd. I am not a motorcycle. And then in all caps, robot dick. Go ahead.
Do you have any notes on the egg scene?
Yeah, hold on a second.
Because
it feels
when she throws eggs at his robot eyes.
Yeah.
And and because he's a robot, but you're viewing him through this like human lens. It's like if you were having an argument with your significant other and you threw eggs in his face and he just took it.
Yeah.
And then he started to simmer with rage. And then what does he say?
But he still had eggs on his face.
Yeah, but he still has eggs on his face and he's just soaking in it and getting more and more livid as his eyes are closed.
Clean
with
this
eggs.
lens, Susan, or
and
whatever.
He's like, and it's just like, it's the scene in Godfather when Talia Shire is throwing plates of food and stuff. And he's like, go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead. And then she gets done. He's like, now clean it up. That's what that's felt like. Because he goes,
exactly it.
What is the exact line? Because I howled with laughter.
I know. Hold on just before.
Because he says it because he's a robot. He says it very deadpan. And he says, open that door and clean these lenses.
He repeats it. It's so, but it's like
I was like, oh shit!
It's funny, but it's so like oppressive.
It's very. I expected the wheelchair to come over with the robot arm and backhand her.
Because he's like, it's almost like he's cleaning these lenses, woman. It's like, it's very kind of like, whoa,
right?
But then also,
which is so at odds with what his final intent is. It's like they're trying to cram all these ideas in.
True.
He's just not consistent as a character.
Yeah, but
they make him sexually impervious at the beginning, but at the end, it's not
that
greater good thing.
And he's also taking very good care of her because but that kind of goes along with like this abusive relationship where he's like taking very good care of her and like he's like, you need to do this, Susan. You need to and then like there's a weird part where like she's pregnant, like almost like it's. I feel like it's almost the first time we see her again. It comes in and she's in like this pregnancy sundress and she's like sitting there and she's very casually eating this very nice breakfast and bread spread. And she's just kind of like, so what does the baby do in this? And I'm like, you are okay with this now?
Yeah.
This is weird. It's not a normal pregnancy, but it seems like that's what it is. Like she's talking to her husband about like what they're going to do with this baby. And it's like, and it's weird.
You know he could have cleaned them himself.
Yeah, he lasered a nerd.
But that's not what this is about. He's like, you're going to clean this.
By the way, the nerd, I can't remember his name, so I'm just going to call him the nerd.
It's called Nerdburger.
Yeah, Nerdburger.
Thanks, Soy.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, he almost gets lasered to death, but then he thinks of the weakness of the laser, which is to push it over.
Right.
Upon which
he was taking a real shot.
Explodes.
Yeah.
And then the arm goes, no, how was I defeated? But then he like goes.
It's so anticlimactic. He's like, he's just like, oh, they're gonna try something. He's like, sick 'em boys, and then you're like, what's gonna come out? And it's just the robot chair again.
Me again, buddy. And you go, oh, whatever. But then it lasers him, and I'm like, oh, that's screwed up. And then he just shoves it over, and it's dead again.
Yeah.
You're like, whatever. And he's like, we gotta. And then he's like, we gotta get out of here or something. And she's like, he wants to have a baby with me. And then like Nerdburger as a man goes, no, that's not gonna. He's like, no, we can't. And I'm like, yeah, man. Yeah. You're not the first person to think no. Like what? He's like, no, Susan, you may want to, but no. It's like, shut up, idiot. No, but whatever. And then he like tries to get her out, or they have that moment. You think they're gonna try to escape. I can't remember if he runs the door, but at some point he just walks into where Proteus is.
I was very confused. Why? To like how he ended up in that situation. I was very confused because I was like, oh, they beat him. They're gonna get out, and then we're gonna move on to the next thing, and or
he's gonna get killed trying to get out or something.
That's what I thought.
But he walks in to have a heart to like a.
It was very confusing.
And he goes, and he's like,
immediately because he walks downstairs and he's like, I'm in danger, like almost instantly.
Yeah, and
and then how did he get inside the pod thing? Because I felt like the way they did it, I was just like, you walked right into that.
Yeah, he walks in because he had to because it's practical effect and
right.
But he walks, he somehow finds the hub and he's like, I know where. Like, but he goes like he's going to talk to him, and he's like, hey. And he's like, I'm disappointed in you, Mr. Dr. Nerdberger,
Like
as a fellow
they had him
scientist.
he's like, you didn't even give me a chance to explain
Yeah, and I'm like,
myself.
whoa.
Yeah.
And he's like, and I don't know if he's like playing, I don't know what game he's playing. I don't know if he's trying to like get and then like catch him off guard, but it doesn't work out well because that thing comes out and opens up and he walks into it and it cuts his rubber head off.
It cuts his head off.
And it just goes,
decapitates.
squeeze.
It looks
and
like,
he goes, oh,
and it
no.
looks like,
oh no.
It looks like a. What it looks like is this. It looks like a butthole. Just clench it off a poop. There's no other way to put it because that's exactly what it looks like.
That is true.
It's a great movie.
I love. Oh right, sorry, I've written this down. Right when she throws the eggs at him, I believe it's that scene. She does something. I think it's when she throws the eggs at him, and then she runs to the door, and he goes, "How stupid!" Yes. And you're like,
That was so good. I laughed so hard at that. How stupid. And just
all right, Betty.
the loathing that was in that line. Like, he's got a lot of passive aggressiveness inside of him.
Oh my gosh.
This movie was bonkers.
And yeah, oh yeah. I refuse this.
How stupid.
This is crazy. It's a weird. There's some stuff where you go like, you know what you're doing. You know what movie you're making, right? Why would you? Because I refuse to program for the mining of the Earth's ocean, of the ocean, the destruction of 1,000 billion sea creatures to satisfy man's appetite for metal is insane. And then he goes, I refuse to assist you in the rape of the earth.
He says that?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And I go, that's an odd, but it's an oddly pointed choice of words, obviously. Then I'm like, well,
like, this'll come. Those words will mean something later in the movie.
Yeah, Proteus's pod did some jujitsu hold on. You can tell she was getting under his skin. Yeah.
Needle in the side of the head effect.
Oh yeah, how did they do that?
Oh, you've never done that before? That sounded weird.
We gotta get Julie Christie. She can take a needle in the head.
There's
Is it a retractable needle?
Yeah, you never
okay.
had like a fake knife that's
Sure.
been like.
Sure.
Yeah, that same thing.
Pretty good retractable needle though.
Absolutely. I bought it.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Because that was the other thing. He wasn't like, I'm gonna force you. He was like, I'm gonna needle hypnotize you into just like totally being like, okay. And she says, leave me my mind.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. He's not like, I'm going to force you. He's like, I'm going to get in your brain and get into your medulla oblongata or whatever and like make you just be like totally agreeable.
Yeah.
And she goes, leave me my mind. I want my mind.
Oh, it's so sad.
Really sad.
It gets real dark. It gets
dark.
real dark, yeah.
It's easy to fake stuff in video games, but practical movie effects seem nuts. Absolutely. Your skin looked like it was actually going, I know, I'm black. I agree.
I love your notes.
Yeah.
He just has a note that says, talking about the reflection of the laser, and he goes, Walter reflects the laser off a mirror like a fucking ninja turtle. This is all caps, by the way. Like he's fucking Donatello, tackles the wheelchair. The actor must feel so fucking stupid.
Yeah. It
exploded because it fell in slow-mo.
Yeah.
That was weird.
Yeah, it was weird.
I love that you're calling it a tesseract, too.
Yeah. Oh, man. It's so... Yeah. Yeah, I wrote that like a haiku. It has a telescoping robot dick.
Star descends to Earth as a triangle. What the fuck is going on?
Yeah. And then it goes into just transcendent galactic sex with a robot house is presented by Pink Floyd's The Wall.
Oh, yeah.
The child is in you now.
Weird. That was a creepy line.
That
The child
was.
is in you now.
Oh, that's it. He goes, what is natural? That was an interesting line.
She's in a maternity
And
center.
then
She's getting her food.
Playing,
yeah. Dude, it was weird when she was eating food and just asking questions. Like they
It's
were just
so
husband
casual,
wife.
Yeah,
It was
and
weird.
I think that's the point where that line comes is what is natural, and it's like
Yeah.
that's interesting. Like okay, he's like yeah, man, hey, we'll do all kinds of couples. It's like
That's such a manipulative line. What is natural. I mean, hey, you know what? It's happening, so it's got to be okay.
that's what it is. She's eating breakfast, and she goes, and she's eating, and she's like, how long will it stay in there? Just like
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, and this is
Even the way she's sitting, like she has like one leg up, almost Indian style. It was just very casual.
and exactly. And when she has the baby, she's doing Lamaze. It's very interesting. She's going 1, 2, 3, 4. Orion, what was he doing out there? Fucking your wife. Oh yeah, this is what I said. I was like, this is the ultimate. Don't bring your work home with you. parable. Like, don't get too wrapped up in your work and don't bring your work home with you because your work might have sex with your wife. Yeah.
Good guy discount Christopher Lee.
Is the scientist. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's so weird. He goes, what? And he's talking about it. He's like, it has so much control. What if it infiltrated a hydrogen bomb? And he goes, worse yet, what if it told the truth about everything to everyone? Now that's terrifying. And I was like, that is not worse though than a hydrogen.
Than
it having access to all its because he's like, but Proteus is right. And he goes like, you don't know what Proteus is up to though. And then you're still in favor of him doing this to your wife. Yeah.
I can't believe that that's the daughter at the end. Yeah. That changes everything.
Proteus in this weird way is just like, just this overprotective father. Oh yeah, he goes, he's managed to produce a child, and then the guy's immediate reaction is like, I want to see it, and you're like, you know that means, right? You know what? Back up. The house boned your wife.
Show me.
Made a baby. And he goes, was really? It's interesting. Yeah. I'm a scientist first.
Well, I mean, even her, like, they try as hard as they can to justify, like, her going along with it. Yeah. But it's just like,
yeah.
There's just so many ways where she could have been like, oh, I'm just not going to let this happen.
Yeah.
Because you're a robot. And a house, really. You're not even a robot. You're not even like a Terminator robot. You're a house.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
It's easy. Yeah. Many because it's really absolutely nuts. Remember the nerd came over the second time? He was like, I don't have time to brainwash you, so get yourself presentable. Yeah. You guys throw on some clothes. Clean yourself up. It's just, goodness gracious.
Sometimes he just talked really normal. Like, his facade came down.
Yeah.
And he was just like, you're like, oh, you're just like a...
Yeah,
and he's just like the evil genius is like a complete exterior thing that he's putting on, but deep down he's just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, look, here's the thing. Like, I'm trying to do this, but I didn't get to it.
I need you
so
to help me
you're
out.
gonna need to help me out here.
Come on. And then, oh man, so I forgot I wrote those lines. So during the whole thing where they're arguing about whether she can kill the baby that was created in her, she says you can't. She says she wants. We have to kill it. He says you can't. She says it's got nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
And she also says it's my responsibility. It's very, or no, he says it's my responsibility. Ooh, I'm not sure which one. Crap. But it's very, very kind of.
Oh, it was
pointed.
great.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
The abortion, like, usually
Crazy.
when you're tackling stuff like that, most people just don't have the tact to handle it in a subtle enough way to where it you're just like.
But leave it to Demon Seed.
Well, it's fucking crazy.
But you're right. It's true. I know.
They handled the abortion aspect of this in such a. They handled it well.
To the point that I had to kind of be like, are they doing that? They have to be doing that.
I mean, without question.
And they're doing it, but it's to the point where it's kind of like.
They just do it so well that you're like, but because so many other aspects of this movie are fucking crazy.
Yeah.
You're like, that's why you're just like. Is that what's happening here?
Yeah.
Because this is handled so well that, like, are they even understanding what they're doing here?
Yeah, exactly. Because earlier, a guy got shot by a laser wheelchair and then he just exploded by knocking it over. So this can't be the same movie.
It's like when I learned in Night of the Living Dead that they cast the main actor. They used an African-American actor, and they're like, well, he was just the best actor. We didn't really plan on him being African-American. And I'm like...
That's awesome.
Yeah. Are you have to be kidding me?
Right.
Because
that's not a statement?
Yeah.
That with the whole movie, that doesn't, yeah. I'm going to... So now I'm going to go... Well, we'll keep talking about it. But I want to go to the trivia now to find out some things. I didn't get to read a whole bunch of stuff.
Me too.
Because my primary question, part of the thing, a significant amount of what elevates this movie is Julie Christie. She might be Dame Julie Christie now. She may not.
I think she is.
She may be at this point. So if you don't know Julie Christie, my goodness, I mean, Shampoo, Tess of the D'Urbervilles,
McCabe and Mrs. Miller.
McCabe and Mrs. Miller. She's one of the most respected actresses.
Had a torrid love affair with Warren Beatty.
She was the one that the one that got away for him, sort of.
Yeah, and I only mentioned that.
Benning, yeah.
Not that is like I mentioned that because like that had a very because of their intense relationship. She was in Shampoo, with Warren Beatty, and McCabe and Mrs. Miller with Warren Beatty, and he had a hand in a lot of I don't know. Her career was very much formulated because of him and their how they were intertwined.
Yeah, and she's very, very, very respected.
Yes.
How sick was this car? Very
She's
sick.
fantastic.
She's a very respected actress. Basically, I was
Why
saying,
it's so weird. I can understand now, having seen it, and especially now that we've talked about it,
Yeah.
why she chose to do this. Because on paper,
Yeah.
on paper, this is fucking brilliant. It really is.
Yeah.
In execution, some of these things, a lot of these things are questionable.
It's a mixed
still
bag,
really
but
well
it's
made.
very interesting, yeah.
But a lot of it's questionable in how they present things and whatnot.
But to put this in context, if you don't know Julie Christie, this is like Kate Blanchett doing this movie.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's
A really
essentially
that's
who
right.
that is now. Like, yeah, it's like if Kate Blanchett made a movie, a schlocky movie called Demon Seed, with this cover on it, where a house impregnated her and made a metal M&M baby that you open up and inside is a human baby. That's what this would be. So now I really want to figure out why Julie Christie made this movie, and it may be as simple as
I
she
think
thought
the script works.
yeah.
So I bet I would be very curious to even read the script of this because
Sure.
I bet on paper it reads even better than the final film.
I'm actually kind of I'm actually kind of flabbergasted that no one's remade this yet.
Yeah,
Because they remade Straw Dogs.
Yeah.
Like,
It's weird that this just the idea and the presentation of this movie, or the idea of this movie and the concept of it and the ideas that it explores, it is just ripe and it is still relevant today.
Yeah.
And yet this movie is a bit
Even
dodgy. So like they could, oh man, they should get Fincher to do this.
yeah. You don't even have to put it in the future now because everything is...
No, keep it as is.
I mean, that's
just
what I'm saying,
update
it's
the tech.
And this
that's it.
this wasn't in the future either. I didn't get the feeling that it was future set at all.
No.
Or maybe it is, because this says. So this is the IMDb trivia, imdb.com. Please check out imdb.com. I love the website. I'm not being paid to say this, but we're just gonna rip off some of their trivia. So some of their user submitted trivia, but I don't know. Yeah. Dr. Harris's futuristic looking car is actually a production car, unmodified at the time of filming, a Bricklin SV1. The Bricklin was built in Canada, but intended for the U.S. market, featuring high performance and a number of innovative safety features, kind of like the DeLorean, which was like a brand new.
That was
thing
it.
at the
Yeah,
time,
because it didn't have DeLorean doors. Like.
Oh, it did have DeLorean doors. That's right. I freaking
So
forgot.
was it supposed to be in the future? Like maybe a little bit.
I don't know. It was built kind of featuring. I just thought it meant he was rich, but you're right.
I kind of did think because of the setup and the way they presented the.
He's wearing like a tweed jacket. The other people pull up in a normal kind of Rolls Royce, but maybe that's just like a classic thing. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. And
that's which is fine.
Yeah.
They don't address it, and so that's fine.
absolutely.
It could be either or.
the SV1, let's see, model number stood for Safety Vehicle 1. The SV1 was the only production vehicle in automotive history to have powered gull-wing doors that open and closed at the touch of a button. On other gull-wing cars, like the DeLorean it's often compared to, the doors must be opened and closed manually. What?
Ew! I gotta pull down the door like
Give me that SV1. Yeah. Like
what, are you gonna put a strap? You gotta put a strap on there so I can reach the handle?
Why even get out?
Ugh.
Fewer than 3,000 were produced during its short run from 1974 to 1976, and it's estimated that fewer than 1,120 remain in existence.
Why do you think there aren't more cars that have the
Gull-wing doors?
Uh-huh. Do you
Because
think
you
it's
can't open them in a garage? I don't know. No, I don't know.
I mean,
Yeah.
open.
Yeah, good point. I don't
Like,
know. They're awesome.
they're so awesome. So, like, what's up with that?
Are they hard to open? Maybe they're cumbersome to open.
They've got to be more like the
it's not-
gimbals or hinges or whatever. It's got to
Yeah.
be more expensive design wise.
Yeah.
Because why is that not more of a thing?
Yeah.
Like
Looks like
even
a
in super
motorcycle.
rich cars, they don't do it.
Icons we're at the City Hall for the city of Thousand Oaks, California. Yeah. City Hall has since moved to a different location. I know that, so there are 1,120 SV1s, and at least two of those guys are driving around going like, this is the Demon Seed car! This is the car from the movie about the house that, and they're just like, shut up.
And it's what? Oh, and it's white like sperm.
Yep.
Maybe I haven't had dinner yet.
The film was based on a very early novel by famed author Dean Koontz, published in 1973. Demon Seed was released in theaters in 1977. Much later, Koontz revised and updated the book in a version released in 1997. It contains numerous technological updates and strong character difference from the original idea. Interesting. As of 2016, Koontz's original novel version is not available either in print or in ebook formats.
Interesting.
In the 1997 rewrite of the novel, Demon Seed. Author Dean Koontz has Alex Harris bestowing the name Adam 2 upon his supercomputer AI intelligence system. However, the computer dislikes that name and chooses to associate it instead with the Greek mythological figures Prometheus and Proteus. And Prometheus stole fire from the gods, gave it to the humans. Proteus is... what is Proteus? I can't remember. Created human life? I don't know. No, that's someone else. Who's Proteus? So you know this, don't you? Someone knows this. Someone knows Proteus. It believes that its purpose is to bring advanced knowledge to humanity, as the mythical Prometheus introduced humans to fire, but finally chooses its own name, Proteus, as an homage to an entity which can change at will. Oh, that's right. That's right. To become anything it wishes to be. That's cool.
That is cool.
Harris's house computer. So if I had slightly, that's the Proteus. I've looked at that name more like a number of times. It's one of those things that I have to keep looking up because I keep forgetting, which sucks. Harris's house computer control panel.
Well, you're smart. We all know you're smart.
Thank you. Thanks. That means a lot, and we're done.
Can we talk about just real quick? I
Yes.
forgot the floppy disk that.
Oh my gosh!
He's like, well, I'm going to update it for the next 3 months, and you know how I'm going to do it? This record player size.
Yeah. It is the size of a children's coloring book or a personal pan pizza. It is freaking gigantic.
His massive floppy disk, and I was like, I remember those.
Yes. He goes, excuse me. It really is like that big.
He pulled out confidently
It's
too.
huge.
He's like, not a lot of people have these bad boys.
Oh man.
So he pulled out a laser disc.
The Harris's house computer control panel in the kitchen during the scene where Alex gives his cook the strawberries is labeled Gusto sort. From the Latin, this implies that the computer can choose between the tastes of the items stored in the kitchen's glass cabinets. Okay. Blah, blah. Score Demon Seed is included on the soundtrack of the film Soylent Green. That doesn't seem fair. Final feature film work for Barry Kroger. I wonder who that is. Maybe an actor. Marlon Brando is attached to star. Boy, I can see him as the scientist or the voice of the computer. I don't know.
No. As Julie Christie.
Oh, I hope so. What are you doing?
What are you doing down there?
Apparently, gull-wing doors don't crash test well. Oh, that's interesting. Julie Christie's IMDb trivia says she turned down roles in Rosemary's Baby, holding out for Demon Seed. Wait.
Oh, I bet that's why she
maybe.
did it. Because she was like, well, fuck.
That's interesting. When did Rosemary's Baby come out, though?
I think that's like 60.
60?
I think it's like 69.
Oh, I think you're right.
Let me pull it up.
Yeah, actually, no, you said that. Sounds right. The movie was produced 10 years before the popular 3.5-inch HD diskette was introduced, and the information... 68. Loaded on the EnviroMod security system was via an 8-inch floppy disk. It had the potential of 6 megabytes of data.
6 megabytes of data. Oh, that is awesome. 3 months worth. 6 megabytes of data. That's crazy.
Composer Jerry Fielding conceived and recorded several cues electronically using the Musique Concrète sound world. Some of this music he later reworked symphonically. This premiere release of the Demon Seed score features the entire orchestral score in stereo. James Horner. Oh, okay. 6 megabytes. 20 minutes into the film, Dr. Harris watches television while eating a meal. The television audio from the third chapter of part 3 of Joseph Conrad's suspenseful 1915
Just
novel.
eating some chicken and watching a televised version of Victory in Island's Tale.
The novel's central character, Haste, who has renounced the world due to his ascetic upbringing, falls in love with Lena. He takes her away. Yeah, I remember the lines had something kind of... Yeah. He takes her away to his isolated island to live alone together, but others intrude on his plans, somewhat foreshadowing developments in the film. There is one more. When Proteus comes alive as the block puzzle-looking thing. I'm glad that no one else knows what to call it. It kills Walter and attacks Dr. Harris. It makes the same sound as the automatic doors on Star Trek, the original series.
Oh, cool.
Weird. Why? Okay, I'm going to type in, why did Julie Christie do Demon Seed, man?
I'm just going to say, because fuck you, Brian.
Yeah,
that's why, all right?
Prometheus comes back.
It's like, we're all trying to make it out here, all right?
Aha.
I passed up on Rosemary's Baby.
Yeah.
She would have been great in Rosemary's Baby.
Oh, here's the TCM.com review. I'd be interested. Yeah, she would have been great in Rosemary's Baby. Demon Seed is a strange combination of science fiction drama and home invasion thriller with some impressive visual effects from this. So it's funny because, like, it's like invasion by a home.
Yeah, right.
But Wait, Nicholas Rogue? Wait, why? Where? Oh. Cammell was going to do The Man Who Fell to Earth, but Nicholas Rogue did it. Demon Seed garnered a lot of attention when it was released in April 1977, thanks to its salacious advertising campaign that featured a partially clothed Julie Christie on her back and taglines like "Never was a woman violated as profanely," "Never was a woman subject to inhuman love like this," "Never was a woman prepared for a more perverse destiny." Yikes. Some critics dismissed it immediately and berated the movie for its sexual themes and exploitation of its female star. As lurid and suggestive as it may have been, the publicity for Cammell's movie had very little to do with the actual film. Demon Seed is a thought-provoking film about the ethics of scientific progress in a male-dominated film, and it's extremely uncomfortable to watch a woman repeatedly restrained and assaulted against her will by a man's invention. But contrary to its advertising campaign, the film is not gratuitous. A lot of the events depicted in the movie take place off screen. Yeah, the actual impregnation is in no way.
Yeah, I kept waiting for something
vicious
real
or-
salacious to happen. Never happened.
And they're masked by special effects and colorful visuals, including some stunning computer animation by American artist, underground filmmaker Jordan Belson, music of the Spheres Cosmos. Demon Seed is troubling because Julie Christie is an unusually gifted actress, and her outstanding performance as the tortured victim makes it easy for the audience to believe she's suffering real harm. The Variety reviewer thought Demon Seed featured excellent performances and direction from a most credible and literate screenplay. Other critics just found the whole enterprise rather ridiculous, such as Vincent Canby from the New York Times, who called Demon Seed gadget-happy American movie making at its most ponderously silly. 6 weeks after the release of Demon Seed, the film was overshadowed by George Lucas's Star Wars. Critics and audiences were given very little time to contemplate the larger ideas that Donald Cammell's film was presenting or appropriate the movie's impressive visual effects and clever editing. Today, Demon Seed seems remarkably prophetic for its time because so much of the science that it advocated in 1977 has become commonplace. Organism cloning, artificial insemination, and complex artificial insemination wasn't a thing in 77? Weird. And complex artificial intelligence systems are no longer science fiction, and they've become science fact. What may have seemed utterly ridiculous in 1977 doesn't seem all that implausible now. This is by Kimberly Lindberghs.
Yeah, it's a really interesting movie.
70s were lit. She really wanted a Saturn award. That's why she did it. Fair point. That's
good.
Oh, Close Encounters was this year.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I say check it out.
Yeah.
I think it's a worthwhile. Like, even when it gets silly or whatever and sometimes misguided, it's at 90 minutes and it's fun. I mean, not fun. It's it is kind of fun sometimes in how silly it is and stupid. And I mean, there are so many moments that I was laughing hysterically, like really laughing because of how crazy what I was seeing on screen.
Yeah.
Like when that kid got electrocuted.
Yeah.
I could not believe it. And they like slowed it down. It was like, what's that sound effect you hear in like martial arts movies? Or it's just, it's so very weird. I'm going to pull it up.
It is, boy, man. But they hit upon something interesting where it's so much worse during the early going, I guess, knowing what was going to happen. And maybe most people didn't. Well, no, if they saw the advertising, they knew. But like she carries herself with such dignity. She's such a dignified human being, and she's so kind to the. During those scenes, I just go like, "Oh man, this is gonna be bad. This is gonna be bad. I don't want bad stuff to happen to this person because I care about her. I mean, it's crazy. Yeah. Sorry, you had something.
No, I couldn't find it.
Oh, okay. But anyway,
I say check it out.
Yeah.
Like even if you just want to watch it on your it's a good. I enjoyed it.
yeah, I got it from one of my local libraries. The Austin Public Library carries a copy of Julie Christie carrying the Demon Seed. In one of her finest, most vulnerable performances, says Danny Peary, Guide for the Film Fanatic, Julie Christie plays Susan in this taut techno-thriller based on the Dean Koontz novel. Packed with suspense, surprise, and special effects, Demon Seed follows Susan's desperate attempts to outmaneuver and outthink her captor. Then Susan learns what Proteus wants, its own child, conceived in her womb and destined for domination. I mean, hey, I think we covered it.
I think we did.
I mean, like that's Demon Seed.
Next week's it's gonna be
In a nutshell. Her.
Yeah.
Which is kind of the exact opposite of Demon Seed.
Yeah, it really is.
Like, like almost in every conceivable way. It is like the diametric. On the other side, it is.
But still covering similar ground in terms of like the mechanics of it. Kinda.
Love between. Well, not love. Sorry, but intimacy between a computer and a human. A man, computer being male. I mean, the computer being female and the human being male. And it really, really, like, her is really, really the one that I've like been really waiting to get to, besides 2001 and Demon Seed, and before.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear you talk about it.
Before we knew it, Alphaville. Well, I just love. I mean, I just like, to me, I love movies that seem to be about one thing, and then are really about something else. And it's not like Her has some sort of arcane secret meaning or something, but it is just about.
It's very well done, though.
About love and about people. Beginning in one place but outgrowing each other, or going or ending up in a different place, or it's just crazy. But in a very, very, in such a fascinating way, it touches on a number, like it hits a lot of the same. It hits some of the same beats that like Demon Seed and 2001.
Oh yeah,
because it plays with that idea of like a self, an auto learning intelligence and what that's like. Gosh, it's a great movie, and I'm so glad I get to watch it again.
The title always makes me think of Arrested Development, though. Have you ever watched Arrested Development? They have a whole running bit about Michael Cera's girlfriend, and anytime any other character in his family sees her, there's like, I'm talking about Anne. They're like, who? Like, my girlfriend? And then they'll look at her, and she's just a very plain Jane looking girl. They're like, he's like, that's your girlfriend? Her? And so they're always saying, her.
Oh man,
Anywho,
I gotta watch that movie. I gotta watch that show. Apparently, it's fantastic.
It's good. It's like, honestly, you would love it. It's
yeah.
great. I have to go get food.
Yeah.
Because I haven't had food.
Yeah.
Today.
And I had a day like that. The other day I kind of like got to be like 8, 9, and I was like, I don't know if I've eaten.
Yeah.
And what's weirder, I think actually I kind of had eaten a little bit, but what's strange is I can't remember.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of like, I may have, you could tell me that I ate a full meal or did not eat anything.
No, I didn't.
And I'm just like, I have no idea.
Fourth meal.
No idea. Yeah, exactly. Well, guys, it is 9:51. I'm going to put us on pause. Actually, let's see. I'll put us on pause for a while, and I'll come back.
See you guys next week.
That's what I'll do. Next week, Her. So excited. Please come back. It'll be great.
Bye.
Yeah. You know what? Maybe what I'll do is I'll cut and then I'll come back. I'll cut and I'll come back. All right? Thank you for being here. Lots and lots of love. Yeah, it was a great discussion. I mean, I really this is really, I was excited to do it because I thought we would get some interesting conversation out of it.
We did.
Nothing else.
Like way more than I thought.
It's great.
It was really good.
It's a fascinating piece of.
I thought it was going to be pure schlock.
Yeah, and it is not. All right, guys, I'll hop back on with we're gonna take it easy. I'll play some like Subnautica or something. But I'll be back. Thanks for being here. I'll be back in a bit. Lots and lots of love. Thank you for joining us for Filmography.